Alright, we're live, but we're not live. Welcome to another game within the Of Blades and Brothers setting. This is the drama of Dornhoffstead. Running with 3 players tonight. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and your characters starting from the left here, so that'd be Temric's player, go ahead.
I'm Sim181. I play Temric. It's my first time using system-lite, so it's gonna be kind of interesting little game here. Yeah, it looks like he contracted a disease at some point during his life, and kind of everybody get a thick skin out of it because everybody kind of probably looks at him sideways.
Alright.
Hello everyone, my name's Mitchell. I'm playing Arnulf. He likes being in the back and shooting people with crossbows and whatnot. But he's not a slouch when it comes to melee.
Nice.
It's also my first time playing system-lite.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm Kurt, also Akros, playing Grubner. Also, first time system-lite. Grubner's great. He's just good at what he does. He can get you anything you need.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and get right down into it. Let me go ahead and get you guys over to the next screen. Let me know if everybody hearing the music okay, everything going through on that end? Okay, good. So I'm going to read you a couple of handouts here. First, I'm going to read the Königsland. The Königsland, a nation once ruled by a great king, with many dukes, lords, and nobles paying homage his authority. The king, blinded by greed and the lust for power, dabbled in dark arts of magic and wizardry. Strange creatures and men, given the unnatural gift of long life, began to permeate from the king's capital of Königsitten. From the seat of the great hall began the corruption, and it spread along what would later be called the Feywood. People feared that their king, and now mad from meddling in the blood arts and dark manipulation of life, would turn his gaze further from the seat of his throne. A great and unholy power was growing. Black-robed men brought the dead back to life, and nobles in the capital suckled the blood of babes for sustenance. It threatened to overtake the nation and everything the people held dear. Only by the heroics of men led by the great Duke Harn did the diseased heart of Königsland finally stop beating. Harn himself led a coalition of arms to bring down this dark empire, his sword slicing through the corrupted body of the king. The king's name lost to history, he fell on the field, and the horrors he had sowed all suffered the same fate. Harn was poised to become king himself, but the dark magics in the earth below did not stop with the king's fall. Roots, gnarled and twisted, swallowed up those brave warriors into the Feywood. Harn was no more, and not a man escaped the wrath of the corrupted nature all around. But those times are long since past. Now Königsland is a nation of petty kings and pettier nobles. Peace is rarely sought, and even more rarely maintained. Disputes rage on borders, royal lineage is often fabricated, and the small folk suffer all manner of injustice by those with the coin and clout to inflict it. But, even so, the small folk can make ends meet. There are always opportunities abound, and life is not so bleak that it is not worth living. And now this for the specific setting that we're going through here for Dornhoffstead. Duke Dornhoff sits at the table you are gathered at, loudly devouring a slab of beef with sides of peas and potatoes. Goblets of wine line the table, opulence displayed in full disregard for the varied stations of those before him. A call was put out for each one of you individually. Guards came and collected you from whatever activities you were involved in, legal or otherwise, without questions or answer for you. You were simply brought to the castle and sat at this table. There have been many stirrings as of late in Dornhoffstead. The Königsland is ill at ease with the rumblings of another house war, especially in the central plains where Dornhoffstead sits. Saltschutz grows weary of their vassal status in the south, while the ocean fiends conduct raids closer to the mainland every day. What matter of business could Duke Dornhoff want with such a motley crew assembled before him? So you're sat at this table in Dornhoffstead Keep. Here, and this is you are all residents of this place in one way or another, or members of the house, based on your various backstories. And Duke Dornhoff is just sitting here eating meat. It's been fairly quiet. You might have been chatting amongst yourselves, but this is if you guys want to roleplay anything right now, feel free to.
Grubner's happily drinking wine, cutting very neatly at his meat and eating quietly. Smiles all around.
Yeah, Temric would do the same. He's gonna keep a distance from Duke though, because he knows his condition is not something that many people enjoy being by.
I figure Arnie will be beside Sir Halberd as he's more bound to him than the others, but still nearby.
And Sir Birtwick is just very overt and eating very loudly, stomping, smashing his food down, grabbing turkey legs by the leg, just ripping them off. He's like he's never eaten. He's never eaten with manners before in his life. Halbrad doing about the same as everybody else, eating quietly. But eventually, after a longer period of silence, Duke Dornoff puts his fork and knife down, pats his mouth off. Well, I'm assuming you're all wondering why you're here.
I suppose so.
Aye, my lord.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have you know that's nothing that you might have heard about as of late. Salt Shoots is not making any simple maneuver towards us about their vassal status. They're being content, and the Ocean Fiends are not yet here. It is another matter entirely that you might have heard from the small folk. And I require all of your services and your own, and he sort of looks over to Grubner and then cuts his eyes over and then cuts back down to his food. Unique ways. I have heard news, rumblings from the west. I've heard that the goblins have netted themselves some prize of importance. This news, if it is true from our scouts, does not sit well with me.
Well, that's most interesting. But that does bring me to question exactly why you have such an interesting number amongst us.
Well, Grubner, because I believe, based on what I'm being told, that a creature of quite fantastic origins has been taken by the goblins.
Oh. What sort of creature would that be?
Are you familiar with the tales of the weird beast?
Grubner furrows his brow and kind of toys with his face for a moment. I can't say I am, sadly. I take it you'll enlighten me, my lord.
And he sort of waits around and looks at the others. You guys can make int checks to see if you remember any of this.
Brace yourselves.
For some bad rolls here.
Oh crap! Dang.
I'm gonna make one because I like the idea that he's like
Yeah.
luring the
So
Duke
target
into...
number for this is 9, by the way. I will let you know
Arnie's
target
getting
number
the good
before.
rolls out of the way.
6? Jesus, Arnie's nuts.
Oh, Grubner knows.
Yeah, so
He knows, but he's absolutely just fishing for what info the Duke has.
So Grubner and Arnulf. And it's a fairly common tale. Temric might not have heard it because people don't like the disease portion of Temric, but the weird beast is something. It's akin to like how people used to talk about griffins and shit in medieval times. Like they're just fantastical creatures. A weird beast is a three-headed creature with a snake tail and a lion's head and 2 goat heads. And they were rumored to be, based on like the origins, the fantastical origins of it, they were rumored to be quite numerous in the Westerlands, but of course they were hunted to near extinction, or what was believed to be extinction according to old legends. Some people believe that they had an intelligence about them, but it was disregarded as they were considered a threat to the expansionist efforts of man at the time, according to fairy tales of what happened. And of course you've got your typical medieval dramas where knights would slay these creatures and save princesses and things like that. But no one really believes any of it's true. It's just one of those things that rumors that came out of when the king of Königsland, when he was going through his whole dark emo phase, might have created these creatures at the time. But there's no evidence. So the Duke relates that information to you. Now I understand that this sounds ridiculous, and believe me, I tend to agree, but our scout that survived the journey from the Westlands swears up and down it is true. And I cannot take lightly the word of a man who has traveled such a distance. If it is in fact true, there can be no good intentions when goblins are involved with such a creature. So, the reason you're all here is because you're going to do a service for me. You're going to go to the Westerlands, and you're going to dispatch the goblins, and if need be, if they have such a beast, you will dispatch it as well.
Grubner kind of appears very deep in thought for a moment. Interesting indeed. If such a creature did exist, then it would be worth quite a bit, down to the last tooth or claw, wouldn't it? I can see why you'd be so interested, my lord. Or did you have other plans in it for it, perhaps?
I sincerely doubt the beast even exists, but if it does, my only interest is to see it dead. I have no interest in such a creature other than to be sure it is not in the hands of nefarious little monsters like the greenskins. Takes a sip from his goblet. If it is real and you kill it, I'm sure my scribes would love to have evidence of it, but if I know you, Grubner, I know that there'll be nothing left if it's worth anything of value.
I suppose you know me far too well, my lord. Well, consider me in.
Temric's gonna put down his meat, look over at Duke. You can consider it done. It's been a while since I've seen some greenskins. It's been a while since I've seen them bleed. I'm in. And if there's anything of value to bring back, I will bring it.
He nods towards you sympathetically. I'm glad that you're all so gung-ho, because the choice was never yours. And he just sort of smiles about it. This brings me to my next point. None of you will be going alone. I certainly need to have House Dornhoff represented correctly. Sir Halberad and Sir Bertwick, and he motions to the two of them, will be leading this venture, along with a few guards of mine. He sort of gestures around these men who have been standing nearby the whole time. We will keep the group small as to avoid attention. I do not wish to have our neighbors questioning our motives, though they may be generous for the realm. Some may take it differently. Sir Halberad, you will be in charge. Sir Bertrick will be your second. Do you have any questions before you make your preparations to leave and accomplish this task for your lord?
I'm sure under Sir Halberad will be successful whatever we have to do.
I'll have myself prepared in no time. Don't worry.
I am alone. All is well.
Well then, all right. He motions for some servants to come by and start clearing the tables, whether you're done or not.
Grubner gulps down a couple goblets of wine before they take it away.
We have gathered some supplies in the hall, over to the. And he points over towards the door, somewhere down that way. I don't even know my own keep anymore. Whenever you're finished, the scouts will brief you on which way to follow. Well, you'll know how to get to the Westerlands soon enough anyway. Now, leave me. I wish to have some peace during my dinner, all this rattling and clanking with silverware.
As you wish, my liege.
He gestures
Yes,
you
my lord.
away. And so you're just sent off to like a sort of a gathering area within the keep. And so the mercs and they're just sort of gathering supplies for the journey ahead and cleaning up weapons and packing and things like that. It's gonna be a fairly long journey. You're not expected to be back for at least a month. The Westerlands are very far away, and you have to travel over mountain ranges in order to get there. So this is another opportunity for roleplay among you guys here, whatever you want to talk about, or whoever you want to talk about it with.
I suppose once they leave the dining area, Arnold will say, "How fantastical can a beast be if it is captured by simple goblins? Probably
can't
just
say
another
I'm sure.
greenskin kill. Or, we're probably just there to kill the greenskins."
Perhaps. But I don't think the Lord would bring it up if he didn't think it something of such interest. Do you?
A point there.
I think anytime the greenskins gather, it's time for the Lord to take a notice to it.
I
Here's to
suppose
that.
so. Grubner was kind of in slightly more fine-looking clothes before, and now with everything being set up, he's kind of no care for his surroundings, kind of swapping off of it, kind of revealing some light padding underneath. His figure's actually a bit more lithe than it appeared with the clothing on, and he's now getting into some things and switching into some lighter leathers and such over his padding.
Yeah, Termix is gonna take off some of his nicer clothes and start wrapping them in some linen. We're start wrapping his boils and rashes.
I imagine Arnold just has a uniform that he wears.
So, I wonder where these weapons are.
Would we have our weapons on ourselves by now? Or do we have to go get them somewhere?
Not sure.
I don't think
Good.
we'd be in.
Bear with me, guys. I have a stupid situation here at the house. I'm going to pause the recording for a moment. The 5-minute break.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
Recording. Temric is meant to be leprosy, sort of.
Okay. Interesting.
Um,
So people have pretty good reason to be so wary of him then,
yes.
relatively.
Yeah, unless you want leprosy.
I mean, he's the only one who has it, though, and he's been in contact with multiple people, so it might not be.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because otherwise there's no way he'd be, like, still hold any kind of relative station.
Yeah,
And feast in their lord's chambers.
it's more
Exactly.
it's more superstition that he is contagious than it's not proven that he is, because as of yet no one else has gotten contagious from him. So
That's what I figured.
it's
Cool.
leprosy, but it's also not. Anyway, so you guys were gathering up gear and things like that. Was there anything else particularly you want to talk to anybody before you go? Or?
Weapons and such.
Yeah, I assume we head to an armory or something, arm up.
Okay, cool, yeah. Yeah, Grubner's got knives for days, daggers everywhere else.
Yeah, Arnold has, looks like he has chain or something. But he's got a crossbow, he'll take two quivers of quarrels. As well as sword.
And after Halbrad's dressed and ready and has his armor and everything on, he walks over to Arnold. It's good that they're bringing you along for this.
Aye, always glad to watch your back, sir.
Yes, I was happy to see that you and Temric were considered for this journey. We're in some rough company, I'm afraid. And he sort of eyes over Birtwick. And you guys know that Birtwick
Quite
is,
the,
Go ahead.
quite the man over there.
You mean the boisterous bastard?
Something.
Yeah, you guys know Birtwick is he's rising high as far as the station goes because a lot of the nobles around here are pretty bloodthirsty when it comes to wars with their houses. But he's known as a pretty big dirtbag in relative terms in the house. He's Arnulf, you worked under him personally for a recent campaign and you saw some pretty messed up things that he did to people. I mean, it's think if you're familiar with Game of Thrones, think on lower key level of the mountain, just that sort of stuff. He's that kind of guy. A little bit more to him than that, as far as like he's a bit more. He has some higher levels of thought, but when it comes to warfare, he is a cruel man.
Mm. Yeah, Grubner, regardless of situation, is usually like quite polite to people. He's especially polite to Sir Birtwick. So, and it's semi-evident. So, he's on the big guy's good side, relatively speaking. As good as you can be on him.
You're pretty sure he doesn't want to kill you outright.
Yeah.
So, but and he pretty much keeps to himself for the most part. He didn't seem very happy when it was Sir Halbrand leading the expedition. But regardless, you are all set up and ready to go whenever you guys want to move forward.
Grubner's well equipped.
Fired up, ready to go.
Alright.
Well, actually, I did have a question about the system.
Sure.
For ranged attack, is it still strength?
No, it is reflex.
Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to be sure.
It's make sure I've got that handout for everybody. Yeah. Yeah, reflex is to hit for everything. For just shooting. I know I had something in place for when you roll for arrows. Oh, no, it is. No, you're right. It is. It still is strength because it's like where you're hitting them, I guess, with the bolts. It's just a different way of doing it, I guess. So.
Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead and bring out the ranges. The ranges that form a natural barrier to the Westerlands are treacherous. Not only must you scale and overcome great heights, but the weather is unnaturally wintry during all seasons of the year. We prepared in this place, both for the elements and the unexpected. And so, to get to the ranges was a couple weeks to even make it from where you were at, just journeying. Pretty relaxed pace. Springtime, not much in the way. Rained a couple days, but other than that, it was a pretty easy journey. But going through the ranges, as they're called to the west, it's essentially a natural wall between the Westerlands and the Koningsland. It's very difficult to cross. So your group's been traveling here for the last couple days, and I want everybody to make an athletics roll with a target number of 12, because you're gonna have to try to keep steady on throughout, despite the conditions and everything. Keep a good pace.
I am not rolling good at all.
Arnold will use a luck dice here.
I was just gonna say, I think I might do the same, figuring for Grubner, preparing quite well for himself, so I will use one. Oh, yeah.
Maybe we all fall
Didn't
off
help.
and die.
So you're all gonna suffer 1 wound right now from the conditions because it's biting cold. So it's gonna be your green thing for your character token. So drop that down by 1.
Okay.
Also,
Does
anybody
everybody
who
pass
used
out?
the luck point, no, nobody passes out yet. You're all just very cold. Also, make
Hmm.
sure you drop a luck point if you used it.
Yeah, Grubner had this big heavy cloak on, and he was adjusting it at one point, and the wind caught him at right the wrong angle, sending him tumbling over, and the cloak just went. So, yeah.
And then one of the mercenaries that's what you picked it up and put it. No. Hey, that's pretty good. No. So you're moving through this this one particular canyon. You figure, according to what your scouts have been telling you, you're about halfway through the ranges at this point, where you need to get to the Westerlands. When you're getting through this canyon, you see a gentleman step out, heavy cloak over his shoulders, towards the middle of the path that you're taking. Heavy cloak over his shoulders, a full suit of armor. Looks to be older, with a great beard. And he stands out in the road before you. And Temric, you may recognize this person if you want to roll int with a target number of 6.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Good roll. Hey,
Nice.
you know that guy?
I'm gonna go ahead and whisper you something.
All right.
Seeing the man step out, Arnold's eyes immediately go to the canyon walls, looking for high places, good vantage points.
Roll.
Preparing for an ambush.
I think that's int 9 because you're using your intelligence to try to guesstimate where this would be, if there's an ambush coming. So
Grubner's kind of
Hey,
keeping
10.
inwards in the group
Oh.
towards the middle, so he's not near any edges.
Arnolf, I'll whisper you something as well.
Okay.
Okay, there's the Temric and now Arnolf.
So you probably wouldn't know who I was then.
He would know your father. He may or may not know you.
All right.
Hmm.
I'm gonna step forward as to get his attention, and holler, "So Morgath, is that you?"
And he furrows his brow and looks at you. And how would you... Wait. Your accent. Are you from my homeland?
My father was Temric. I am his son.
You're Temric's boy. Fancy meeting you here, then.
What are you doing way out here?
Not expecting to see an old friend's son. I should be asking you the same thing.
We heard about some goblins out in the Westlands that need to be taken care of. That's where we're heading to now.
Hmm. I want to believe that, boy. Truly I do. It would make this whole thing easier. Truly, I suggest you step aside and let these men fall as they should.
That I cannot do. If it means anything, I don't know what you think we're doing, but we're not doing it.
Frankly, it's not about what you're doing. It's what's been done to our house on Dornoff's account. We will no longer bend the knee, no matter what any noble says in the South. Let this be the first step. Whatever nefarious plots that they have, on account of your travels west, I have always suspected as much.
This does not need to happen, but if it's death you seek, we shall give it to you.
And Grubner, are you made aware of what's going on as far as what Arnulf has seen?
Something about a bowman?
Yeah. You can, you can RP that, Mitch, if you want to like whisper to Grubner or whatever.
We got 6 men about us. Spearman and 1 bowman.
You go for the bowman.
Sir Halberd.
Very good. Go for the bowman. I'll keep him busy. Ready your shot. Grubner kind of steps forward a little bit. Now, I don't know what exactly grudge you have with us lot. I mean, I'm just a merchant of sorts. I don't suppose this really needs to end in violence, does it?
No, not if you throw down your arms and submit to capture. Salt shoots will know what you're doing here.
I suppose that must be fair enough. Grubner walks towards the man. He kind of pulls out both his blades, the obvious ones, and kind of to the ground at his feet and kind of walks up to the man. Well then, it seems I am at your mercy, good sir.
He's got a sword in his hand, and he's...
Yeah.
You see people are coming down from the canyon. Various weapons and... Well, that's one of you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're fairly close. He doesn't seem concerned about you.
Yeah. Yeah, Grubner is pretty close. He, for all intents and purposes to everybody else, it looks like he's given up. He doesn't have his hand going for a blade or anything like that, but he's secretly he's like waiting for that moment where this guy turns to someone else.
You can have my sword if you take it from my hands.
Alright, and he's like going to gesture over to the guy over to his left here to grab Grubner because Grubner's not looking like he's about to fight. He's like, come take this one and hold on to him until we're done here. I'm sorry, boy. And he's like getting ready to turn back around to talk to Temric.
Yep. Just as he does that turn, like once he's not quite in the line sight, the guy's kind of coming up behind, and he kind of sends a boot backwards towards the other guy, going for a low blow, and kind of takes the knife towards. I'm sorry, I don't think I got his name.
Morgarth.
The big dude. Yeah, takes it towards his neck.
All right, so you're gonna get it. So we're gonna get this. I'm gonna let you guys know how. Oh man, let's see here. Shoots the bowman. Scrimmer does this. Okay, so you're gonna get a bonus dice for your reflex roll to stab him.
Nice.
And the way that combat works, players go first every time in the system, unless I say
Cool.
otherwise.
Okay.
So.
That's interesting.
Alrighty. Do you want me to make a roll then?
Yes, and you'll both get to
Alrighty.
do your rolls so you're both going to get rolls before your turn actually happens because you're taking him by surprise, Grubner, and Arnulf, you've been sizing up this bowman since you've seen him at the beginning. So
Cool. All right. And so how would I? Do I just roll an extra die or?
yeah, so you would roll your reflex and then just roll a d6 separate.
Cool.
He's still going to
Alrighty.
get to roll a reflex, but you're going to get a bonus die for.
I am gonna use another point of luck because it seems like the moment to do it.
Ooh, okay. Go ahead.
He's going for, and strength is the one for damage, right?
It is.
Okay, I think I'll use my my luck on the damage roll if this lands. So, and then let me do a d6, another
17.
4, so 17. Yep.
Okay, so you hit him. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Nope, wrong button. There we go. And that's with the 1 luck. Ooh, 8, a little bit low. Darn, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
So you're gonna do.
That's really good.
You're gonna do. So you catch him along like where were you going for him at as far as
He was going straight for the throat, basically. He's got this real short blade.
Mhm.
You know, clearly it looked like it was a buckle, but he kind of pulled it and it revealed a nice little knife hidden away. And he was going right for the throat with it.
And so you go to get at his throat and you catch him along like he sees it the very last second as he's backstepping. And you catch him sort of across the collarbone pretty deep. It's, you treacherous little beast! And he has his sword up at the ready. And Arnulf, you may.
Oh, nice. 15.
Nice.
17 even.
17, yeah.
And he's gonna try. So this is the guy back here with the bow.
Nerve.
So he's gonna try to avoid, and does not. He couldn't have even with. So go ahead and roll your strength.
Okay. Not bad, 11.
Oh God. Okay. So how much is that? Wow. So let's see. It's for every full 6 points over, you do an additional damage. So you're gonna do 1, 2. So you do 2 to this guy. You almost killed him in 1 shot. Nailed him.
Nice.
Where does the bolt hit him?
I figure maybe in the leg near the groin, like his blood's flowing, but it's not a kill shot yet.
And he was just sort of sweeping people with his bow, and he swept right over you and didn't like stop to keep pointing at you, and he's getting nailed. Just grabbing at it like he's in disbelief. So now you guys are gonna take your first full turn, and you guys who got the first actions and initially get another one, but it's however you guys decide you want to act in order here. And just roleplay combat where there's no distances or anything like that. Just let me know what you're trying to do, and we'll resolve it.
Cool.
I'm okay with Arnie going last. He has a crossbow to reload.
Okay.
Yeah, I figured Grubner would go first since he's right there in striking range and kind of
Alrighty.
reflexive.
Yeah, if that suits, then yeah, Grubner, you know, kind of pulling back. Darn it, I forgot his name again. Could you type in the chat and then I'll
Let me
remember?
go ahead, because I thought I had him up for his
is he?
nameplate, but let me go ahead and there you go.
Okay.
Sir
There we go.
Oh yeah,
Morgath.
now I can see it. Okay, perfect. Morgath, yeah, okay, cool, thank you. Yeah, so seeing as Sir Morgath is kind of still recoiling a little bit, you know, pulling his blade back up to go for Grubner, he kind of does a spin around and takes that same knife in an arc down into the guy behind him that he kind of kicked backwards on. And that he's going for kind of under the arm, trying to bypass the padding and everything.
This guy or Morgarth?
The other dude, the one behind. So he basically goes for Morgarth, gets him along the collarbone, kind of kicks backwards at this dude, and as they're both kind of staggered from that, he kind of swings back around in an arc, bringing that same knife down under this guy.
Okay, go ahead.
Alrighty. reflex.
Ooh,
Dang.
go ahead and roll
Yeah.
damage.
Alrighty. Oh my.
So
Solo.
just 1 point of damage
Oh,
to him.
darn. Alrighty.
So you're going for underneath the armpit for that real tough spot, that injury, and it goes up into his bicep instead. Blade gets stuck in there, you had to rip it out. Just, yeah! Cutting people up with that thing.
So Temric, seeing Morgath kind of distracted, is going to charge in and take a swing at him with the sword.
Alright, go ahead and move yourself up close to him so we can see that on the battlefield, and then roll your... Ooh, so no hit. He brings his sword up to parry as you're coming down with yours. He's like, alright, we'll see if you're Temric's boy or not.
Aye, we will.
Alright, Arnulf.
He kicks his crossbow up after using a foot to reload. And gives a shot at that bowman.
That poor bowman.
For a 13.
Ooh.
Nice.
So we can roll the. It doesn't even matter. You're gonna kill him. We can roll the athletics. See how bad he would die if you want to see that. Strength versus athletics.
11.
No, you just would. So you do kill him. So tell us how you kill him.
Maybe in addition to the bleeding in his groin, there's an arrow that gets him right in the throat, and he falls backwards, gurgling.
And he actually gets picked up off his feet a bit, and his bow, sort of drops out of his hands. Just falls over and rolls into the snow. And the snow around him starts to turn like a crimson red. And then we'll do the NPCs, you guys. So Birchwick is gonna try to capitalize on what Grubner's doing here.
Squish the punies.
And so this is a good time to talk about surrounding. So technically, Sir Morgarth is tied up by Temric, and Grubner and Birchwick are both fighting this merc. So Birchwick is gonna get an additional die for his attack roll.
Nice.
10.
And this
Oh
only
my.
applies in melee combat, or is this ranged as well?
Oh yeah, it only applies for melee. Ranged, the benefit to range is that they're not hitting you back. Like they're not up in your face. Now, if multiple people are firing at a target, that counts as a surround. If there are multiple ranged people firing at one person, because you might be able to dodge one arrow, but you're gonna have trouble dodging successive.
Nice. That actually fits in with my plan for what I'm doing next.
All right, so
Free bow.
so this guy, Birch was gonna roll his strength now.
I get the feeling this poor merc isn't gonna last. Oh my gosh.
Birchwick's pretty ridiculous. 6.
Oh my.
Yeah, this merc dies.
He's got the damage, doesn't he?
This merc dies. So you get that cut up under the guy's bicep, and he actually is like, you little. And as he's saying that, you see this Birchwick's axe just come down and split this dude down, like just basically bisects him from like the head down to his sternum, and it just yanks the axe out and kicks him off.
Yeah, Grubner is coated in a nice thick mist of red.
Yeah.
He kind of gives a nod towards Birchwick and turns kind of back towards Morgoth to a degree.
Yeah. And Birchwick, as you're nodding towards you, you're lucky I knew what you were doing, or I would have done that to you. How Barad is this?
Grubner just, Birchwick doesn't see it, but there's a kind of a semi-timid smile underneath the mask he's kind of pulled up for the wind.
Halberd's gonna get into these mercs here, and he's gonna hit the one closest to him, or attempt to. Alright, now it's their turn. Morgarth is going to go after Temric, of course.
Nice tank. Yeah.
The reflexes. He will use the luck die on the reflex roll. Yes, enemies do get luck dies.
Nice.
Alright. Oh, jeez.
Alright, so he's gonna roll strength now. Versus your athletics.
Alright. I am rolling like crap today.
Oh man!
Oh no.
You still only take 1 point of damage.
Ugh.
So he's sort of like, as you guys are fighting, it's like, you know, your standard sword fight. He's pretty good he moves pretty quick for an old guy, a lot faster than you expected. He just sort of like is trying to get you like the death by 1,000 cuts, you know, just wear you down. He sort of catches you across the chest. He's like, "You sure you're Temric's boy? Temric was fast with his sword when I knew him."
Timur's gonna laugh out and put a laugh. Is that all you got?
And these mercs are gonna gang up on Sir Halbarad down here.
No, Sir Halbarad. Oof, not with rolls like that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, makes it better.
No, first one doesn't hit him. That one might. Does. These other mercs. So this guy's gonna try to get in and push through to Temric as well. He's gonna try to help his lord. Let's go ahead and roll your reflexes against him.
I'm use a luck die
Okay.
on the reflex.
Well done.
Ooh, nice.
So you see him, you hear him because he pushes past his buddy down here, and you hear oof, and then you happen to see it, and just however you want to roleplay, dodging or knocking that sword strike away.
I'm gonna put up. Timur puts up his sword as he sees him coming, and when he sees the swing coming, parries it and clinks the sword with his sword, deflecting it. You'll be next.
And then this last guy down here at the bottom is going to try. He sees Arnulf kill their bowman, and he's working his way around. He's not going to be able to get to it till next turn because he's got a wide step. Everything that's going on here, because there's a big melee right in the middle. So it's back to you guys.
Alright, you want me to go first again, or?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Good character.
Alrighty. Yeah, so Grubner kind of, now that the others are all sufficiently distracted with Temric, kind of pulls away over and kind of runs over, picks up the bow, pulls an arrow out of the die, like flips him over, pulls an arrow out, aims it right at Mogarth's back. And do I have time to take a shot as well?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Yeah, he takes aim for one of the more open spots of the plate.
Okay.
Trying to go for a joint. Oh yeah.
Holy crap.
Wow. Oh wow, you needed it too.
Super.
'Cause he was pretty good as
Oh
well.
my, yeah.
So go ahead and roll your strength versus athletics.
Alrighty.
Okay, you're not gonna get more.
Dang, yeah. Yeah, he's got athletics. For sure. He's got that down pat. Yeah. But nonetheless, that thing digs in there.
Mm-hmm. So you go ahead and describe where you hit him and.
Yeah, so on the back it's like not quite as heavy as the front is, and he aims for one of the spots between the plate towards the back, kind of towards the lower spine area. And it sinks in nicely kind of lower right side of the back.
And you see him sort of hunch forward and stagger a bit while he's fighting Temric.
I think Arnold will capitalize on this. Again, he kicks up his crossbow, the bolt's made to pierce plate, and he'll give him what for.
Do it. You're gonna get an additional die for the reflex because you're shooting at him again. He's getting shot by 2 different arrows.
Nice.
Oof.
When you hit him, go ahead and roll your strength.
Okay, me.
Nice. That tie.
Strength, yeah. Oh, might be doing something. One.
So you peg him to the front. Go ahead and. How's that look?
It just again, like he's trying to do what he's doing at Tarmac. You know, he can't take him out in one shot, so he's taking him apart piece by piece. Goes for the leg.
Those poor old bastard.
So he gets shot from behind, staggers forward, gets shot in the leg, staggers sideways. It's all getting bounced all over the place.
Chopped up like piecemeal, man. Yeah.
Go ahead, Temric.
Temric sees him getting hit, and while he's facing the other guard, he does a twist and turns and swings full strength at Sir Morgath, hoping to capitalize on the distraction, and I'll add on the luck die to the reflex.
All right.
Nice.
You might need it. It's a good one from him.
Yeah, I've been rolling bad, so.
You got it. Oh, damn. So it's not so much that he tries to parry you, it's more so that he's just getting bounced around so much it's difficult to try to like anticipate where he's gonna go, and you just miss him just by a hair. And then we'll go in with NPCs. Halbrad is going to fight that same merc he did before. Oh man. Nope. Bertwick is going to go for Morgarth.
No.
Nope.
Not quite. Yeah.
That is a parry, because Bertwick's
Old guy's keeping at it.
Bertwick's
yeah, man.
sprinting in, trying to go for just try to decapitate him, do the same thing. Signature move, trying to just split the guy, and the old man just brings his sword up both hands while he's hobbling around and knocks the axe head away. Alright, their turn. Let's see.
Grupner's making several quips about, oh, it's a free bow, and oh, that old git really has it in him, doesn't he? Etc. Etc.
Alright, so evens or odds, Temric?
Evens.
Morgarth's going after you.
All right.
Alright, strength versus your athletics. I'm pretty sure he's not going to do more than 1 point, but we'll see.
You see me roll lately?
Yeah, no.
Oh, hey, there. About time I
You're
started.
pretty good at not taking more damage.
Yeah, exactly.
You're lucky I've got all these damned bolts in me, boy. And he just, it's like a half-hearted swing. It still cuts you, but it's nothing. You feel it, but not too much. He is gonna give you 1 wound, but He's starting to slow down.
Well, so far I've been hit by you 3 times, and I'm still here.
Alright, and the mercs on Halbrad are gonna keep trying to beat him up.
Oh, Brad, no.
He's fine for that one. Okay.
Sexy.
I guess he could tie with the extra die he gets. The mercenary could. No. Alright, and this merc is gonna close on you, Arnulf, now.
Pulls out his short sword and lets the crossbow fall in its sling.
Alright. Getting tired of those bolts, you bastard! And he runs up and swings at you.
Ah. Got plenty of steel here for you yet.
Alright, I believe it's back to you guys now.
Okay. Alrighty. I suppose Grubner's up again then. Yeah, he's gonna kinda, this time he turns realizing his, doesn't have another arrow hand, and kinda just sighs and tosses the bow back to the guy and pulls out a slightly longer knife. And this one he aims, does Morgoth have a helmet on?
No.
Okay, yeah. He's like, 10 for the head, and he throws it very precisely. Let's see this go. Come on. 10 for the head. Come
Oh
on.
my
18.
god.
18 for the head. Yes.
Go ahead and roll strength.
Alrighty. Come on, give me a good one this time. Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Oh, darn it.
He's
He's
still
too good.
so still though. Go ahead and tell us how
Do I
you
take an ear at
killed
least?
Sir Morgarth.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah. So he takes this stance like as nonchalantly as a guy in the bar throwing darts, and he kind of takes it, up, straight up, and just goes and releases, and the thing soars. And he was kind of aiming for like the back of the head, but it sinks really deep into the base of the cervical spine, and Morgoth kind of just stops, staunch still for a moment before he's gone.
And so, like, Tamric, you see Morgarth going to say, I'm gonna get you, bah! Bah! And then you see this knife point come out the front of Morgarth's throat, and he's, oh! And you see his sword going to the ground, try to keep him up, but he's hunches over and falls to a knee and then sprawls out on the ground.
Grubner is exposed, like, off in the distance to Temeric, who takes a gallant bow and heads back over to grab the actual quiver of arrows this time, as well as the bow.
Tamric will nod at Grubner. And then seeing Morgoth go down, he'll look at the mercenary next in front of him, point a sword at him. One chance, lad. Drop the weapon or die.
And you can roll.
And then he's
you can roll a strength to see if you intimidate him. Be a strength versus his willpower. If you succeed, I'll give you an extra die for your reflex.
all right.
Nice.
Oh
Oh my, yeah.
I would think that this
Scared
is
the
going to
piss out of
be.
the
Don't
poor
hit
boy.
often, but when you do,
You know?
Is it rolling?
the mountain behind him explodes.
Huh. Is anyone seeing the willpower roll for that guy yet? Let me make sure it's. Oh, there it is. The first one. There you go. Okay. So either way, so yeah, you can go ahead and he looks scared, but he's staying in. Like he sort of sees you, and you've got this gold, this mask on, and everything like that, and he can detect some of the boils and stuff because some of your bandages have been torn away from the fighting. And he's sort of spooked by you. He's staying in, but he looks shaky. So you can go ahead and roll a bonus, an extra die for your reflex.
All right. Did I even roll correctly there? Probably not.
You rolled a d6, but make sure you're rolling your reflex as well for your skill check.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So you hit him. Go ahead and roll your strength.
And I'm just gonna try to cleave down on top of his head.
Go ahead and describe it. He's dead. Go ahead.
So seeing him still in the fight, I just put a big giant upswing and I swing down as hard as I can towards his face. And I cleave him right into it. And then he gets with a sickening thud. And then I kick his chest to free my sword.
Yeah, and you have like Temric's sword is one of these bigger, like an executioner style blade that he wields around. It's a big two-handed sword, like not even just a hand and a half, a big two-handed sword. And this guy tries to bring his blade to block. He even gets the blade up, but the Temric's blade just goes right through it, and just as Temric described, this guy just crumples over, just dead. Arnulf.
Arnulf and this dude are duking it out.
Show us the duking.
Hadouken!
Oh, baby. You hit him, go ahead and roll strength.
Hey!
Ooh, nice.
Oh man.
Okay, so yeah, you kill him as well. Go ahead and describe how you kill him.
I think Arnulf, like the guy goes over zealously and swings at his left, and he comes from his right and stabs him through the middle and just boots him hard, sending him in the direction of Sir Halberd, like down here.
He just falls over and tries to get up, but you see like the life starting to leave his eyes. He can barely move, and he's grabbing his bloody clothes for the brief few moments he's still alive afterwards.
And then there were two.
Birchwick is pulling his axe out of the snow after it got parried away, and he looks up and sees Morgarth's dead, and you just see a big blast of warm air come out from behind the helmet, and then he just sprints over to this merc that's here fighting Halbered, and he's gonna get
Gonna sweep the legs or what?
he's gonna try oh, maybe not.
Oh.
If he does hit though,
That's
it's
rough.
gonna be, oh no, he hits.
By some miracle he hits.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this poor dude.
Yeah, that guy's probably fucked.
Thoroughly so. Oh yeah.
Whew.
That's a roll to beat. That's for sure.
No, he's very dead.
Yeah.
So he's like this is one of the guys who's been ganging up on Halberad the whole time, and Halberad's just been fighting super defensively to tie him up. Basically, he knows he's not been able to get through either one of them. But then he sees Birtwick coming, and he leaves an opening on purpose, so the guy leaves himself open for everything else. And Birchwick just, I mean, you get sprayed by blood, Temric. He just cleaves to this guy's shoulder into his belly, takes his arm off, just drops him. Halbrad against this last lad. Halbrad's not having a good time. This last merc is really evaluating the situation. Doesn't look good. So he's gonna try to run.
Oh, that's a mistake.
So he just
It's a big mistake.
he looks at, like, he sees his last friend, like he hasn't been paying attention much other than just Halberd, because he's, you're focused on what you're fighting. But as he's had a moment to step back and look, he now sees that everyone he was with is dead, and he also gets sprayed by blood from Birchwick cleaving into his buddy that was to his left. So he looks down, he looks around, he throws his sword and shield down and starts sprinting away, like trying to get through all this snow that's here. So
That's not gonna happen.
Well, I think this has to be for the resident arbalist.
He's just yelling, I yield, I yield. He's running, he's got his hands, I yield. He's running, he's just trying to run, and he's yelling that just over and over
The
again.
price of banditry is death. Kicks up the crossbow. Fishes around for a nice barbed bolt. He's gonna try and put one in his back as he runs.
Okay.
That's for Sir Halibert.
Ooh. Go ahead.
Respectable.
I think he's. Yeah.
So you catch him through his back. And he's still just he's on all fours for a second with the bolt in his back. It's like pure adrenaline for that guy now trying to get away. And he's like up on 2 feet, just you see him grabbing and clutching the side, still running.
You know the Battle of the Bastards?
Yes.
How, yeah, it's like that. It's like the guy is like about to make that turn around a rock. Basically is what this is. And Grubner's gonna loose a shot from that bow from in back. Let's see if this
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Strength. Ooh. Will that do it?
Nope. He catches
Darn it.
another one, falls back down, and he keeps trying to crawl away.
Temric seen him on the ground. Is gonna do a slight jog over to him and step on him.
Sure. So do me, because you're gonna run through this heavy ass snow. Do me an athletic. It's gonna be an athletics check with target number 9, because you're gonna follow his tracks. I'm assuming, because it'll be easier.
Nice.
I'm gonna fall.
Oh, you can do it, mate. You can
Nope.
do it.
Alright.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
so you get over to him. So now, if you want, I mean, he's trying to crawl away. He's got. If you're gonna finish him, go ahead, because he's not gonna be able. He has no way to defend himself.
I'm actually gonna grab him
Hmm.
and bring him back to the group
Sure.
because I want to ask him why he's there.
So you're going up to him, and he sees you, and he sees your boils and everything. He's like, please, please, no. Please, just kill me then. I don't want to catch that.
I'll laugh. You got worse problems to worry about now.
I just love the idea of him saying that and Sir Bertwick looming in the distance.
Oh
Just-
gosh.
Just practically smoke oozing out from under his helmet. Oh.
I only got
Not-
to kill 2 people.
Now tell me, lad, you see that big glorious man over there waiting to slice you in half with his axe?
I do.
What are you doing here?
We was contracted by and he looks over at the guy who's, Sir Morgoth. That knight fella. We he didn't tell us nothing. He just paid us. He said he needed to get something started or figure something out. Please, I don't really remember much. I was drunk.
Hmm.
Seems the good sir was trying to start another war.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. How many more are there than him?
What you mean? He was the only one that hired us.
You didn't hear him talk about more or see anybody else?
None of our like.
Is there anybody else waiting down this mountain pass?
I don't know. I just know we was here.
If no one else objects, then I am gonna let him run.
And Birchwick's just like,
As good as dead with
Run!
the barbed arrow and with the barbed bolt and an arrow through him.
Grubner's too busy looting to
you're
care.
going to let this fool go? He tried to kill us. He works for Saltschutz. according to what he's saying, this old idiot, and he kicks the dead corpse of Sir Morgoth, was trying to start a war again. Which I'm all fine with. But I don't let my enemies walk away. Sir Halbrand's sort of cutting him an eye, and Sir Halbrand and Birtwick start to bicker about it. Halbrand pointing out that he's in charge, Birtwick pointing out that it's stupid to let the man go. Grubner, I'll whisper you what you find.
Nice.
Timmer's gonna point out to Birtwick. He's no longer an enemy. He has no sword to fight you with.
He's a bandit, though.
Hey now, I'm a mercenary. I was given good coin for this.
Good coin, you say?
Well, Sir Halbrand, what do you think? I don't think we need to carry a prisoner with us.
It's a tough situation, Timric. If we let him go, he could tell Saltschutz that we're out here. He could tell them whatever he wanted. And of course, the mercs in the background object, and so all he's going to do is go to a bar and things like that. He could tell them, and as much as I disagree with Sir Bertwick's methods, he may be right. What do a lot of you think?
Well, I
Arnulf will
suppose.
answer last.
Sorry?
Arnulf will answer last.
Okay. Grubner kind of looks up from his looting. Well, I don't suppose I really care either way. I mean, you could always make him work for us. Use him as a meat shield if you would. He kind of turns back to doing whatever. Otherwise, your choice. I'm not in command here.
I think it would be dishonorable to kill an unarmed man. I say you give him a sword, let him fight Sir Bertrick on his own.
I don't want to fight that fella. He nearly cut that man in half.
Arnulf's answer is to reload his crossbow. And he looks to Sir Halbrand for the okay. He's pissed this guy hurt him.
Well, make it quick, Arnulf.
Aye, my lord.
And the merc's eyes widen with horror, and he looks over at Arnulf, and then just... And the guy slumps over. And it's all quiet for a moment, and then Birchwood just... Should have let me kill him. Would have been nice to put a sword in his hand. I'm still warmed up. And he sort of, off in a huff, sort of starts digging through the dead. Anyone that Grubner hasn't touched yet.
Arnie will take the guy that he killed with his own sword.
Timrick's gonna go talk to Sir Halbrand. It's kind of non-friendly little pointless conversation.
And Sir Halbrand just sort of cleans off his blade and checks out some of the smaller wounds that he has. And believe me, Timrick, it put a bad taste in my mouth to give that order, but the Duke was clear. No one can know we're doing this.
I understand. How you holding up?
He looks over, he's got like a cut on his shoulder and one on his like hip. He's like, well, This old flesh doesn't heal like it used to, but I suspect I'll be in fighting shape for the duration of the trip. I don't need to worry about me keeling over and dying right now.
Good to hear.
I'm more worried about you, boy. Morgarth was quite the swordsman. You look like you've been cut up quite a bit.
Yeah, he got me a few times. Not as bad as it looks, though.
Your father would be proud of your resilience. He always made strange remarks that he was disappointed with your swordsmanship, but I thought you were progressing very well.
Yes, I wish I could have continued better at full strength, but things happen as they do.
We don't get to choose the lot we're drawn, Timric, but you're making the best of it. Don't let the conversations of others get to you.
I try not to. And thank you for the words.
He nods and goes back to cleaning his cuts.
I assume these mercs bear no sigils, nothing like that.
No. They have... There was one of them that was using like a spear with a banner on it. It was just like something standard, like it was like a bear or something like that. And they have a couple different bear like marking things like that on them. But it's not like a house sigil that you recognize. You can roll int to see if you recognize it from another area.
Sure. Nope. No dice.
No, that would have been a 9, and that is not a 9.
So, what do you do with the knight's body? Put it to the side with the sword.
Should burn him. Use him as a fire. Birchwick grumbles as he's sifting through somebody's pockets.
Arnulf mutters to himself, didn't know he was that hungry.
I suppose a fire would do us some good. It is rather cold, and after all that work, we might as well rest up for a bit.
Plenty of
What do you say?
corpses to get it going.
I agree. What he was doing is no different than what a bandit would do. He deserves nothing.
Halbrad sort of shakes his head. Well, we don't want these... No one usually comes out to the ranges. We certainly don't want the bodies to be here. Bertrick, you have a taste for these sort of things. Why don't you get the fire started? And Bertrick just sort of grumbles and then piles up the bodies and starts to work with some kindling after he clears them. And Birtwick isn't as concerned about coin, more so than taking like supplies from them that he finds.
Yeah, Grubner takes kind of any extra bits of cloth that seem like they wouldn't be needed for the fire or anything. Kind of stuff that might be useful for just who knows what, you know, making a quick rope or anything, etc., etc.
It's actually a really good idea. I think Arnie will take another cloak, because he took a beating from that storm.
Alright, so we're about to do a scene change. We would say that you guys sort of gathered up a fire and everything like that. Just had a night, just relaxed and cooled down, even though the fire smells like burnt flesh and corpses.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. The thing I got, would I know what house it would be from, etc.,
Yeah,
etc.?
you can roll int. As
Cool.
far as are you talking about the signet ring?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I wasn't sure if it was like on the DL or what.
No.
Nice.
Nah.
Nope.
I mean, you're assuming it's Saltschutz,
his,
but
yeah.
you're not sure what house, because it could be like a minor noble house within them, right? Like, so you're not sure 100%.
Okay.
He was a Saltschutz knight, but you don't know if it was his personal signet ring, some value. You're not sure. You just know it's a signet ring, and signet rings are fairly valuable.
Cool.
We have
That-
soldiers with us, right?
Yeah, you do. So what I was doing is because I don't want the combat to take forever, because you've got like 4 or 5
Oh,
guys.
fair
definitely. I
enough.
was just suggesting that maybe send one back with a report.
Sure. Yeah. So we can do that.
Oh, that's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what how Brad. I'm assuming you suggest that, and then it gets a merc gets sent back, or not a merc, a soldier, a house guard gets sent back with the report. And what I was doing as far as what they're doing while this fight's going on is just there's other mercenaries that were there and they were fighting them in the meantime, just for
Well, totally. I definitely understand
background
combat
boys.
taking forever.
But yeah, so you guys
Oh, yeah.
pass a night. So go ahead and the way wounds recover, as long as you don't go down in a fight, you are back at 100% for the next scene change. So you're all back at full health. Your luck will all your luck will replenish by 1. If you used
Cool.
any.
Yep. So I'm back up to 3.
Kind of reminds me of the Song of Ice and Fire game.
Kinda. Yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
So we're
It was good. Yeah.
glad you guys are.
Except in that one, whenever I played it a couple of times, and it was so easy to make such broken characters.
Oh yeah,
So,
Aesoph is
like
nuts.
insanely.
everyone's overpowered. That's how it's balanced.
Aesoph is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
We had a guy. We were doing an Ironborn campaign ages ago, and we had a guy playing a mercenary who was working for the Ironborn house we were in. He went all in on brawling. So he was like a brawler 2 or 3 or something like that. He would punch people to
Nice.
death.
Yeah, that's great. I was working on a couple characters. I made one that was this young blind woman, and she could basically hit anything and almost one shot. It was amazing, and she was just this prodigy blind brawler, basically.
Fucking
That's
ridiculous.
amazing.
And it was insane. Like, you could not hurt her, you couldn't hit her. She
Acrobatic
obliterated
defense.
you. Exactly.
So good.
Acrobatic defense and like 5 other, like everything I could. And the thing is, you get so much from being blind.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's like the minus is negligible, but you get so much in turn. So yeah,
I need to play some Aesoph again. We've got you here.
it's fun stuff.
Welcome to the Westerlands, boys. Let me go ahead and get this up for everybody.
Nice.
The Westerlands, hot, barren, occupied. The Westerlands were the gathering ground of the last great invasion of Königsland. Combined armies of jackals, orcs, and goblins banded together to dominate the world of man, but were pushed back by a combination of courage and winter attrition. Still, threats inhabit these lands. Orcs and goblins are an ever-present threat, while the jackals, though desperate enough to trade with the menfolk that will allow them in their towns, still maintain a tribal savagery. And just to give you some background on that, there was a war about, I believe it was 30 or 40 years ago from this period, where there was a great gathering of the beast races. It was the first of its kind. It was like where orcs, goblins, and jackals, and you'll see what jackals are perhaps in a moment, all gathered together as they all inhabit the west and northlands of Königsland. What are considered mostly uninhabitable except by like nomadic tribes and things like that. And these are the beast races, and they came together, tired of living in the shadow of man, and banded together as a massive army that marched itself from the Westerlands into the Königsland and started to tear things to pieces. And that was another time of legends where men fought in the battlefield. Halbarad and Arnulf were actually both in that fight. So it was about 25, 30 years prior. They were both in that fight. Arnulf was 14. Halbarad was in his 30s. And it was the last great war that had happened in Königsland, and is the reason for the status quo right now, where so many houses are cooperating or just not strong enough to fight each other at this time. It's a long period of recovery because so many people died fending off that combined alliance of forces. But they beat them back. The jackals were thought to have been killed almost to entirety because they when they get together, it's man, woman, and child, the jackals, when they go to war. So hundreds of thousands of jackals died. It's like it was brutal for them. But let me go ahead and bring you guys out here.
Nice.
So you're traveling, and it's a drastic change from the ranges. This is another few days of travel through the ranges before you're down into this barren wasteland. It's desert, and you see tracks here and there of creatures and things like that, but it just seems mostly empty other than the birds. As you're traveling along, it's very hot, humid, dry. Very little shade to be offered, so you pitch up makeshift tents and materials when you can. Traveling for a few days, when you begin to see you begin to see more civilization, I guess. You see there are some wooden bridges that have been set aside for small canyons, and tents put up but not broken down. Tracks everywhere, as if these areas are well traveled, and so you can roleplay right now.
These forts seem to be rebuilding, or at least recovering.
Doesn't seem like a good sign. Especially after everything with Mogarth. More trouble than I expected for this.
Blasted goblins.
Indeed, though it's strange, and Halberd's talking, it's strange goblins would choose the Westerlands to roost in. Typically, they're milling about in our forests, causing mischief. And then as he's saying mischief, you hear something like snap, like a bit of rope or something like that, snap, and it's like, essentially this thing of punji sticks flies out of the ground, and nails Sir Halberd in the chest and just drops him to the ground. He's just bleeding buckets, just and he's just pinned to the ground by this thing. He's trying to push it up.
Grubner is like eyes on the horizon, not moving at all, stock still.
Roll int for 9.
Oh, I keep going to the sheet.
Yeah.
Arnulf is moving. He's going over to try and help Sir Halberd,
Ooh.
Yeah, Temric is going to do the same thing.
taking the bait.
So you guys, the two of you working together, no problem. I mean, you're able to get it off, but it's this thing was embedded deep in his chest, just went all the way through. And he's
Like punched straight through.
it
blade.
was in. You can see the exit wound, like it was the force generated by this thing. It just went straight through his armor, dropped him, and there's nothing. He's not going to make it. He's sitting there. He's coughing up blood. There's a huge wound in his chest. He's gave him his.
Arnulf will take out his sword.
And he looks at Arnulf, and looks at Temric, and he sort of half smiles, and he nods to Arnulf.
Puts a hand on his forehead and plunges it through his heart and twists it.
Thanks for everything you've done for me, Halberd.
Thank you, sir.
And poor Sir Halberad is.
Yeah.
Arnulf will collect his ring.
Yeah. Grubner kind of turns to Sir Birtwick. Your orders, sir. We seem to be in a bit of a situation.
And
Still turning around, eyes on the horizon.
Birtwick looks down at Halberad and just shakes his head. Not a fitting way for him to go. Should have went out sword in hand. But we don't get to pick. Alright. I'm in charge now, maggots. Stick with me. It's not a proper burial, but we'll kick the old fool off into the canyon. He'll find some dirt down there.
I disagree. I think I will bury him.
You disagree, eh, boy? He cuts you a look.
I wouldn't toss you down in the cannon just as much as I wouldn't toss him.
Aye, sir.
Fine. Rest of you, eyes out.
Already on it, sir. Grubner still hasn't moved.
Yeah.
He's still eyeing.
Oh.
everything.
So,
So
go ahead.
Timer's gonna go ahead and start burying him.
And what?
Arnold will keep watch.
Yeah, so Temric's burying him, Arnold's
Or
watching.
keep,
And Arnold, go ahead and roll int.
Vigil, that's what it's called. Arnold keeps vigil.
Vigil. Okay, so you're keeping vigil over Outward's body. Grubner, so if you're standing there watching, you would see some stuff at some point. So you see the sort of not too far, but you see riders out in the distance, and it's like they're riding. They don't look like horses. They're they're strange looking creatures that they're riding. They look closer like boars, maybe, what you can see when you squint your eyes. And the riders don't appear to be human.
Okay. Yeah, Grubner. So, seeing this, he kind of motions to the others. Be alert, we've got incoming. And he takes his the bow kind of over his shoulder and uses it to kind of draw a line around himself to test for anything. At length. And he kind of after issuing, to everyone to prepare, takes one of the like big cloaks in his packs, kind of puts it over himself, and does his best job of covering it in the loose red dusty soil.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Alright.
going for a bit of camouflage there.
Yeah, should I roll for stealth or something? He's covering it.
No,
pretty
I
good,
like
so.
that. So we'll initial part of it. So are you like hiding under this thing, or how is this? I'm just trying to picture this.
Yeah, so he basically gets kind of builds up a bit of a mound of the red soil on top of the thing and kind of gets under it and then pulls it so that it kind of collapses over the tarp, basically, or it's more like a cloak, but you get the idea.
Interesting. So you build a little sand. You build a little sand bunker.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
He's just ready to hop out of it at any point and like stab a
All
goblin
right.
or
That's
something.
what happens. Sure. I like it.
So Bertwick, should I give them a warning shot?
Not yet. Let's see what's going on. Arms at the ready, just in case they're not so considerate. And so the riders start to get closer, and you see 3 of them initially. And as they get closer, So Arnulf, you have seen jackals before, so you know what these are. The other people might not have, but you see the jackals.
Okay. He'll also look, like if they're approaching from the north, he'll look to the west and east to see if they're surrounding them.
The hell is a snake boar? That sounds like a bad time. I take it's yellow snake boar riders,
Yes,
or is it
that's right.
snake boars? Yeah, I figured it.
So how much are there, guys? We're all
The
clear.
imagery though, like, oh,
But they're all riding boars. The 3 of them riding boars down. And you see like the pigs goes as they're hustling along, and there's the 2 here show up first, and they sort of stop a short distance away from, like, definitely within talking distance. Like everybody's weapons at the ready. They don't seem to be too bothered by you with your weapons there. And then a much bigger looking jackal comes forward, and he's sort of appraising you all. Menfolk, why you come here?
Timer's gonna look at him. We like wandering around weird places.
yeah, Grubner's off to the side under his little tarp.
Arnold is hiding behind Temric.
You come to what is a weird place. This our home. Why you here?
Well, Sir Bertwick, You're in charge.
We're looking for goblins, Jackal. Are you going to get in our way? Goblins? Why are you here for goblins, manfolk? You sure you're not here to kill Jackal?
Not yet.
Not
You doubt our word, invaders.
invader. We go 'cause we have to. You come in our land first. Whatever you want to say, manfolk. We know truth.
Oh, we came to build no ill against the jackals.
He looks at Arnulf and squints his eyes. You familiar to me. What name?
Ladies first.
He's snarling and sort of pulls his...
What tribe be you?
What's that?
Please ask what tribe you're from.
He-
Because we can see the template, but
Yeah.
Arnulf doesn't know that.
Yellow Snake. You speak with Batar, captain of Yellow Snake. Who am I speak to?
You address Arnulf. Yeoman.
This name familiar. You shoot many of our riders down. Accurate.
The flanks must be kept secure.
Respectful. You say you're not here to hurt, Jackal. This true?
Correct.
How I know you tell truth. Convince me.
We didn't approach you. You came right
You
charging
killed
it up.
Jackal, I'd have shot you a ways away.
True. But these are lands. You invaders. Convince me. Why you here?
Goblin mischief must be put down. They cross into our lands all the time. They cross the line.
You know where Goblin are? Goblin no supposed to be here. Alliance over. Where Goblin?
Well, I got some bad news for you. They're here.
We let menfolk walk through land. Yet he sort of sits on his board and paces around. We let menfolk walk through land. One condition.
And what is that?
We go with you to Goblin camp. Kill Goblin. Send him away from home.
Arnulf looks to Sir Birtwick.
And Birchwick just...
Disagreeable, sir.
Birchwick looks at you and... You're going to work with some filthy jackals?
I think it's a better option than fighting everything we come across until we find the goblins when we're weak.
These wretched beasts. And he points over at Halberad. You know, I don't know if you finished burying him during this time or not, but he points
Partially.
over to Halberad where he's partially buried and points to the trap. This is one of their traps. Killed Halberad, your friend. You're going to work with these monsters.
I oft work amongst monsters.
And what does that mean, yeoman?
A beast on the battlefield. Impressive to behold. They are likewise, though obviously different.
Who are you comparing exactly, yeoman, to these wretched creatures undeserving of life? And you can see the yellow snake jackals are starting to get a little worked up and hearing him talk.
Arnulf will give a look to Temeric.
This may or may not have been one of their traps, but they didn't get to choose how they sprung it on somebody. It could have been you walking in his path. I'm sure if they had the option to take it back, they may. But no, that's no matter now.
It are a trap. Meant for boar hunting. But whoever step on trap, well, trap take. You see, right from his mouth.
I think they could come in handy. Yes, my friend is dead. He was like a father to me. But I know he wouldn't want us to do something needlessly.
Arnulf grunts in agreement.
I'll be dead before I work alongside jackals. And he pounds the pommel of his axe against the dirt and looks at both of you.
Arnulf gives Temeric another look.
Well, ultimately, Sir Berdwick, it's your call. Just remember, there's only one person in our group that is just as savage as these jackals. So when you insult them, you're kind of insulting yourself.
I've had just about enough lip from you, boy. And he points the axe at you. Are we going to have a
Arnulf
discussion?
removes the barbed. Sorry?
I'm pretty sure our liege would not want a discussion. Pretty sure he'd want us to accomplish what we're here to do under any circumstances.
Our liege isn't here. I'm the one in charge.
And I said, ultimately, it's your call. I just think we don't know how many goblins there are. I think if we need it, they may come in handy.
This one seems angry, making it difficult to take Yellow Snake deal. Maybe we all just kill him.
Temeric's
He
is gonna.
quite mad at the situation.
Temeric is gonna shake his head. I don't think there would be any need for any killing. Perhaps, if you allow us just a journey, you can report back to your tribe and follow our tracks. And if we fall, you know where they're at.
And as you're saying, you don't believe everyone needs to die, Sir Bertrix says, I disagree. And he starts sprinting towards Batar with his axe up.
Oh boy. Damn dirty Bertwicks.
Arnold switching bolts.
Oh shit. Alright, so you guys are gonna go first.
I'm gonna let the archer, the archer take his shot at one.
I mean,
Monsters.
Grubner is, sweating his
Bastard.
balls off under that tarp, but other than that, he's kind of just waiting to see what happens for a moment.
Monstrous bastard.
Go for it, Arnold.
Any bonuses for back attack or surprise?
He's not really paying attention to you. Just give yourself another reflex if you're shooting who I think you're shooting.
Oh yeah. Nice. 19.
Alright, roll your strength.
He's gonna kill me. I'll roll it with luck.
Go for it.
Oh, still with damage.
The little bit counts against this monster.
So you fire this bolt and it goes through Birchwick's shoulder on his left side, and he stops, and he does that slow turn that that, you fucking traitor, and he just brings his axe up and he switches his gait up and starts running at you instead.
Temric is gonna draw a sword and meet him before he get the iron off and try to take a swing at him.
All right, and Grubner.
All right, yeah. Now, see, Grubner is the type to be like, this is interesting. Either one of them, I'll end up with something. So it really depends. Sir Birchwick is more likely to be a problem, though, in general, just for the fact he is not someone willing to negotiate, whereas the other ones have already proven themselves willing to turn traitor, which, morals aside, is beneficial to Grubner. So, far more so than a stick in the mud like Birchwick. So, would it be fitting then, as Sir Birchwick is kind of running towards Arnulf, for suddenly a cloud of dust and a tarp to just engulf him?
Go for it. Roll it
Oh,
as you
go.
would have hit, and I'll adjust after if it hits him. So roll it as you would trying to hit
Awesome.
him.
Cool. Oh yeah.
Damn.
Oh fuck.
It's dusty.
So you're gonna get a bonus to your. So roll another d6, Temric, because you're gonna get a bonus to your attack after that, because this tarp just gets kicked up into Birchwick's face, and then he's gonna get a negative to his attack, like whenever he makes
I
it.
never liked the mountain.
Let's go ahead and roll a bonus d6, Temric.
It's just a cloud of dust.
That's
Great.
So you rolled a 9. Yeah. So it's even with that, he's still able to just from seeing it, he just basically got lucky parrying that away. Now he's gonna try to swing on you, but he's gonna say, "Oh, he didn't take a penalty." No, you got the bonus. He's taking a penalty to his attack.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. So this is him attacking you, because technically he is an NPC on your side, even though he's not at this moment. So he's gonna be swinging at you. So roll your reflexes again.
Hey, well, I must like
Oh, he
sevens.
rolled like shit. So
Oh.
you're fine. That tarp really fucked him up. So it would be you guys again, because the jackals are just sitting here watching this. Batar's even smiling. He's just like, they're enjoying the fight.
All right, Arnoff, you want to go or you want me to go?
Okay.
All right.
He's already reloaded. Another bolt firing. 15 respect.
So he's at this point he's getting the thing off his face. So he sees this shot getting ready to come at him,
Yeah.
but still nails him.
Not enough.
So it hits him, does another bit of damage. Keep going with those bolts, Arnie. I'm going to fucking disembowel you. And he's trying to work his way past Temric. Go ahead, Temric.
You do a lot of
We'll keep being between them.
talking, Sir Berwick. You're feeding whatever it is that they want, and you chose this.
Ooh. You hit him. Roll your strength. Battle of the Titans.
Oh.
Do a point of it.
Just means.
You cut him again. You give him a good cut across some of the softer points in his armor. You're whittling him down. Grubner.
Both these monsters have 5 athletics.
5, yes. Birchwick and Temric
So,
are the toughest people in the group.
Grubner, the horrible, horrible bastard he is. Seeing these two pretty fiercely locked in combat, looks, towards Batar and his comrades, and gives him a semi-curt bow and a nod, and slips kind of behind Birtwick, and more so than looking to really hurt him, he's looking to hagger him. So he's gonna go for that, weak point down there and try to basically hamstring the guy right across the ankle.
Nice.
Go for it.
Oh darn it! I went to the
You get an additional dice for Sharound because he's locked in combat with Temric.
Nice. Alrighty. There's the base. And
Nice.
20.
All right, go ahead. Strength.
Yep. I'm gonna use a luck on this. Oh darn.
Oh my gosh.
That's
So
athletics.
you.
I don't know why I did
So
that.
tell me where you stab him.
So he went for like I said before, he goes for the ankle basically, trying to make it so that Birchwick can't really stand on even footing.
Mm-hmm.
Really just harrying the guy more than anything.
It's just to, like, cut him or stab him through his ankle, and he sort of steps to the side, and as he's doing that, Temric's maybe knocking away his axe, and actually knocks the axe out of his hands, and it sort of clatters across where they're fighting, and he drops to one knee. He's like, oh. Just, he pulls the visor up on his helmet a little bit and spits out some blood. So that's the way it is, huh? He just looks up at Temric and Arn. He just sort of looks between Temric and Arnulf and spits on the ground again. Couple of fucking traitors working with beasts.
You're the only beast here, said Birtwick.
Aye. You're a monster.
A rabid monster.
Heard it all before, boys. You gotta be hard to live in this fucking world. Go ahead then. Go ahead. Best not let me live, or I'll fucking kill the both of you.
That was
Alright.
never an option. Temric, do you wish him to die on his feet? With an axe at least? Is there like Valhalla in this world, or is it just Oblivion?
What's that? No, it's that the people there are religions and stuff like that. Like there are cults to. There's actually a cult for elder gods and things like that as well. Like for Cthulhu type ones. And then on the other campaign we actually have a guy who's a Cthulhu type cultist guy. But
Nice.
you know, there's your standard Christian type religion. You know, there's that cult. There's ancestor worship, but Birtwick is not a person who cares about that at all. So, what?
Well, I'll ask him. I'll give him the option. I'll go. Do you want to die with your weapon in your hand, or do you want to die with them in the air?
I'd rather die with my hands around your fucking diseased throat. It makes no difference to me, boy. Death is death. It always has been.
Then reach. Is it our turn, or is it his
He'll
yet?
try to strangle you, sure, if you're gonna if you're gonna give him the opportunity to try to choke you out.
Well, I wasn't sure if he went yet or not.
Yeah, he'll try to get up on. I mean, he's pretty fucked up. He'll try one last time if you're giving him the opportunity. He'll try to reach up and choke you.
I mean, Turmeric might, but I'm not sure Grubner would.
Yeah, no.
Because Grubner's at this point, got him down. So when Bertwick goes to move, there's like just out of the shadows behind him and the cloud of dust kind of concealing the air, just a hand with a small blade, just from one side of the neck to the other, if that's suitable.
I feel like as he does this, a bolt goes through his eye as well.
Jesus Christ.
I really hate the mountain.
Turmeric's all on her. We aren't having any fucking chance.
So yeah, Timric, you're bracing yourself for having to fight this. Like, you see him like building up like one last try to just take you with him, and then you see a bolt go through his eye and then a knife go under his neck. It drops. And you,
I bid you adieu,
and of
good sir.
course, all the other guards that were you just looking nervously to one another at what just happened because they don't want.
Oh shit! I forgot.
Yeah, they don't want anything to do with what they were not getting involved in that at all because some of them have worked under Bertwick and they know. But you see it's.
So as far as that
Mhm.
though, actually, Grubner kind of turns to them. Well, good sirs, it appears a trap has taken both Sir Halberad and Sir Bertwick.
And the guards.
In lieu of their mourning, I would like to give you all a parting gift in that regard, on their behalf. And he takes out the coin he took from the mercs and ensures it is doled out properly to them.
Amazing. So the guards look confused for a minute. They're like, just saw you kill him. And then, you start handing out coins and a couple of them get it. And like, oh. So you see a bunch of guards start to pocket some money.
Gold is always
And
useful.
it's dead silent for a little bit, like before you go through all that. And you just hear, you hear Batard just sitting there and the jackals all cackle a bit, and then he's clapping. Big men die. Took many small men to kill him, but makes little difference. So, we follow Goblin Camp, yes?
Onward to kill other monsters.
Sounds
Yes.
most suitable.
Let me bury Sir Bertwick first.
Should feed him to boar, but as you please. And he nods over to one of the other jackals and pulls a horn off his belt and blows it, and you see a couple other jackals come out of the hills. Okay,
That fool would have killed us.
we follow. You lead. No funny business. Funny business. Human words.
Alright, so I'm gonna finish burying both Sir Hilbrad and Sir Bertwick. And then I'll take any effects that are on Sir Bertwick.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has something to give to somebody or something.
Signet ring, really. Other than that, it's pretty much he just has his armor and his axe. He traveled light for the most part. He was not a man of
Alright,
refineries.
Oh, sorry.
Fine, go ahead.
So as they're kind of doing that, taking care of Bertwick and all, Grubner is, over near Batar. So I have heard that you'll do some trading now and again, don't you?
This one, not a trader. I a hunter.
But you know the traders, don't you?
Some. Why?
Well, I suppose I could be of help to you. I am a merchant of sorts after all. If you would like, after this, I could help you procure some special supplies.
Special?
Grubner kind of pulls a string on like the side of his leathers a bit, and there's like a nice array of knives and daggers and stuff, good steel, And he closes it back up. Fine, fine goods.
Yes, I like knives.
Yes. In fact, he pulls one of the slightly nicer ones and offers it to him hilt first, of course.
He-
As a gift for our first meeting, if you would.
Yes. Nice knife. Shiny. Sharp. Yeah, he's looking it over. And he... So you hear him like just make a bunch of crazy noises with his mouth, like some scratches and screeches, and like ends it with like a hyena type laugh. And one of the other ones comes over, and it's like a very intricate set of like bones connected together for like a necklace. And it's made for their size, so it's super big. It's like a fucking gangsta chain basically for you if you were to wear it. But
Nice.
they hand it over, and he's very reverent of it as he takes it with both hands. Gift for potential friend.
A fine gift indeed. My thanks to you, Batar. Grubner happily accepts it and kind of wears it under his cloak, basically. But makes point of the fact he does put it on with seemingly equal reverence as Batar.
Very nice.
As Temric is burying Birdwig, Arnulf will stand over him and say, "Can't go through life killing everyone you see. You have to put some stuff aside. You never did learn that."
Exactly. It's the one you can't see that's the problem. Grubner says his mask is down at this point. There's this huge fucking grin across his face. It's disturbing.
Oh man.
And he had to come in for so long. It's a shame, no. If I have a feeling we were gonna need him, like we would have needed him later.
Well, instead of dying to crossbows, we now have them on our side.
That is for sure. All right, let's carry on. We have a mission to accomplish.
We do.
Alright, so scene change, so they recover 1 luck. Well done handling the not so jolly giant. Alright. Let me go ahead and bring you guys out
Whoa!
here. Pretty much.
Oh, that's great.
That feels nice taking
Have you played
down.
any of the Warhammer campaigns?
Hmm?
Any of you played any other Warhammer campaigns?
I haven't had a chance to play Warhammer yet. I want to at some point.
Yeah, me
We're
neither.
making 40k
I've read up on the
episodic,
lore a bit.
so you'll have a chance.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, I just wait. Usually, I only can play on the weekends. The way my work schedule works, so I wait for weekend games.
That makes sense. I wouldn't be able to do this unless it was on the weekend.
So here we are. The destination has been reached, the goblin camp, but something is amiss. Why don't you guys go ahead and roll int checks, int of 9 to see what's going on here.
I'm definitely
Alright.
use luck for this one.
Big hopes here.
I'm gonna go ahead and say my guy's not intelligent at all. Nope.
Oh, there we go.
What son of a gun got a
Awesome.
20?
Governor has an eye out after that trap earlier.
Nice.
He is not losing to nothing.
So Grubner, I'll let you know what you see.
Cool. Yeah, seeing Halbarad go out like that, he's not messing around no more.
I like to conserve my luck dice, my luck dice for when I need them in combat because I roll so bad. Like if these are my real dice, I would so throw them away and buy new ones.
Interesting. Yeah. Grubner, relays this to Batar actually, and kind of pulls the others over when he does it though. But he kind of questions to Batar. You said goblins hadn't been seen in the area, right? Weren't allowed in here by your guild.
No. Relations soured after the war. Goblins used us to fight in their stead, while they fought from back. Many jackal die. We shoot them on sight now. They try to take our lands.
This is quite the fortress they have.
Indeed, there's far too many to simply charge straight in. And they do have something back there. Covered. Tarps, many of them. Whatever it is fairly big. Wondering if those stories weren't a lie.
You know what
But
I think?
more importantly, they've got orcs. Armed orcs. And I don't mean knives and daggers. I mean actual armor. Not the type of stuff you'd normally see an orc with.
So the plot thickens for us.
What else you see, manfolk?
Well, they've got far more numbers than I expected. Whatever's in that cage, though, if the stories we heard from our Duke were true, and it is a word beast, then it could be enough of a distraction for us to waylay them.
Another thing, if I may.
Oh.
I see a lot of wood. We gathered that extra fabric, correct?
Oh.
Could set
Now
the
here's a
entire
smart one.
city ablaze. There's only one entrance.
Aye. Then again, with
Shoot
goblins,
those
you
who
never
come
know
out.
what kind of hidey holes they have. Regardless, that is not a bad idea.
No, I agree. Setting this fortress on fire would be great.
I'm gonna reveal also the some of the things you can see moving down there in camp.
Ooh.
Well, are we agreed? We set the place ablaze. Shoot any who come out, then charge in after.
I suppose so, but how about this? Give me time to circle around. I'll see what I can do about that cage. In the meanwhile, he pulls aside one of the soldiers that was eager to do as he said when he paid him, like was actually going to listen to him. He, hands him a few more coin. Get back as fast as you can and report. This is not some simple trouble with goblins like we thought it was. The Duke needs to know one way or another.
You got it. He takes the coins, pockets them, and you see him start to hustle back the way.
And remember, Bertwick died in a trap.
He stops and he sort of clicks his fingers and points at you and like, hey, I got you, towards stuff, and starts running.
I don't think this is gonna go as planned with the Duke.
It's not a concern one way or another. There are plans in place. At least for me. Can't say much about the two of you, sadly, but one way or another, things will turn out. They usually do. Unless I'm eaten alive by goblins. That would not be fun.
Well,
Regardless. How about this? He kind of calls to the other men. You lot, ready yourselves. Do they have anybody with pikes?
And most of them have just your standard like swords. A couple of them have pole arms, but
Okay. Cool, yeah. Pole arms in the back. You know the drill. Ready at that gate. A couple of you with me. And he'll kind of pick out the ones that look like they might actually be able to not make a lot of noise.
And Tamarick and Arnulf, what were you guys saying?
tell what's his name, the jackal leader. Tell the jackal leader to ready his men with flaming bolts to rain down on the wooden structures.
The fire should be enough to distract him, Grubner, for you to get inside.
I certainly
wish
hope
us to
so.
wait.
Right.
How you make bolts on fire?
Grubner pulls out a nicely hidden bottle of wine, or whatever suitable alcohol else he has. And pours it on a rag, like this, and he wraps it around an arrow. He hands Batar a tinder and a striker for it. They'll show you the rest. Again, don't light it. Wait for me to be close so I can get in without being seen. I'll send a signal up, and then you light it.
And he sort of nibbles on the tinder a bit. It's like, fine.
All
What's
right.
the signal?
Imagine we'll see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright.
You'll see.
Fair enough.
So you're going to have to, so Grubner getting into position, you're going to have to make, so you need 3 successes before 2 failures. Trying to sneak up to it, you're going to need to go off of reflex to do so. Your
Okay.
target number
Yeah,
is
and-
15.
And so what he's going to do for the signal, if he can get close enough, he's sending those 2 guys kind of ahead the other side, basically. Not fully, but keeping them within view. And he's going to give them the signal to go. And basically use them to... He knows they're loud enough. He knows they'll draw attention. They are the signal. So... yeah. Those 2 poor guys. They're the signal. But in the meanwhile, I'll make my rolls. Reflexes, you said?
Reflex,
Yes.
target number 15, need 3 successes before 2 failures.
Alrighty. Oh, I see. So it's like...
1,
Okay,
there's
there's
1.
1. There's
2.
2.
Oh.
Nice.
Come on. There's 3.
Alright.
Wow.
A master of
So
stealth.
you just sort of boogeyman up here, sneak real close, and then you're sending them across whenever you want to.
Yeah, he gives them the signal of go, and he's basically found or is trying to find like a nice purchase where he can get over the wall quietly while they go in through the front gate, basically.
Okay.
Right. I'll show them how to ignite the arrows. The tinder.
Alright, go ahead. This is an int roll of 6. To properly communicate this to the fucking jackals, because they're a bit
Is there
savage
any way
and dumb.
Arnulf can help.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna set ourselves on fire, guys. I'm sorry.
Hey!
Oh,
yes! Oh, that was...
It looks a bit
Man.
scary for in a minute because one of them overcoats his arrows and almost catches his fur on fire. But they figure it out, and they're just waiting for that signal as soon as they get it, and then
So Grubner does have that bow. Once he's kind of up over the wall, he sends an arrow. If the guys, do they draw attention swiftly enough?
you definitely see a lot of there's some goblins starting to get into formation, moving towards that front where they were at. So I think everybody, as long as everybody's ready and aware what's going on next, with the signal kind of happened, we can start now.
Yep. Yeah, Grubner's
Alright.
prepared.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep. Let them fly.
So arrows and bolts flying from the jackals on fire as they're hitting the sides of the walls, catching them on the blaze, and the numerous, of course, the dry weather and everything else being a huge factor. The walls are just pelted, volley after volley with flaming bolts. And what starts as small fires begin to erupt into bigger blazes. And you see several goblins running around trying to put the fires out, while others are arming themselves and moving towards the men they see at the gate, that front entrance. A couple are also attempting to man towers, climbing up quickly, trying to get into position.
As they climb, I'd like to
Sure.
shoot them. So they're unprepared.
Go ahead, take a shot.
16.
Hit him. Strength.
7. Jeez Louise.
Some hellified goblins there.
So you peg him, and it knocks. We'll say it does knock one off balance to his death, but the one there is still more climbing up. We'll say you hit this guy. We're saying that each goblin that you see represented here is a group of 2.
Okay. Well, goblins in this setting are similar to D&D goblins. Like they're weak individually but strong in numbers.
They're pretty. Yeah, the goblins. I think you'll be pretty surprised by the time we're done with this.
Yeah, let's say
Okay.
athletics of 4.
All right.
Yeah, they are
So,
Pretty beefy.
tough little
so we
buggers.
can kick it off. Right now, we're gonna say Grubner is not. No one's aware of him at this time, but he'll act on the same turn as everybody else. So whoever wants to go
Fair enough.
first.
I'm gonna do my best to point out to the jackals to shoot the jackals with arrows to shoot the archers trying to climb the towers.
All right. No. You'll see how well that's
And the-
imparted whenever.
You wanna-
Yeah, whichever one of you guys
What
wants
is
to go
that?
first. So.
I'll step up into the gate. I mean, because we're not trying to really enter yet, right? Yeah, so I'll step up in the gate, and is there any of them coming out the gate, or are they still behind on the other side
They're
of the
moving
gate?
to come out. We'll say there's a couple of them that have came out of the gate at this point.
All right. I'll meet them.
Alright, let's go ahead and roll
One
reflex.
there. 4
Mhm.
goblins.
All balls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna edit like luck die to this hit.
No!
What a waste.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
god! You swing and you just try to
Horrible.
kill all 4 of them at once, but they all dodge you in one way or another. It's just like slow mo. One of them jumps over it, one of them ducks under it, the other 2 split side to side, and you just miss all 4.
Squirrely greenskins.
Man, boss mob goblins, yeah. Ooh.
Arnulf will go for the last one in that group he was
Okay,
attacking.
go ahead.
They're clearly weaving some kind of dark magic on you. Man.
This whole game.
Right.
Uh,
You hit one.
maybe they weren't wrong about the curse thing.
No.
So you peg one, like that last guy, he like dove to the side, and as he's getting up, you take an opportunity to shoot, and he's like, your bolt hits him, and he gets picked up with the bolt and gets taken like 15 or 20 feet,
Good
and then just
lord.
rolls around on the ground dead until he. Alright, Grubner.
Yeah, he's gonna continue trying to sneak towards that tarp-covered cage.
Alright, so where are you at as far as where did you initially go for the wall?
Oh yeah. Where's my? So I imagine he would have been kind of over like this
Mhm.
way. I imagine the cage is like either like somewhere around there
Yes.
or like the big thing,
Yes.
basically. All right, yeah.
So go ahead and get, because you're sneaking around now, so you can move up.
Yeah.
You can. It's gonna take 2 moves to get to the cage. So you can make 1 move as if you're getting closer, and you have to roll reflex with 15 target number again.
So kind of like
Yeah.
that, yeah, because then it would be perfect. So right about there.
So you can
Yeah,
roll
you wanna do
reflexes to
that.
sneak around. 15.
Alrighty. I'm gonna. Not yet for the sneak. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm good. I was gonna say, I was like, do I want to use this luck point?
You're kind of weaving through little huts and things like that, and there are a couple times where goblins dart out in front of you, dive behind something real quick, but they don't see you. They're all rushing towards the front. As you're over here, you see a rather tall goblin, actually about as tall as you are, wearing here, wearing a
They've
pelt.
got hobs.
And he's wearing a pelt on his head, and he's directing other goblins as well. He's got a staff in one hand and a sword in the other. But now we'll do the jackals that are with you. So a couple of them one of them's taking a shot, actually listening to you, and is taking a shot at the goblin that's climbing.
Not bad.
It goes
Nice.
wide. Batar is actually running up with you to the front on his boar. He's mounted on his boar, and he's trying to use the boar to barrel into one of these little goblins.
Jackal boys for the win.
Oh wow.
And even with that athletics, he's still you see this boar come sprinting up, and the boar actually just grabs the goblin in its mouth and yanks it around and throws it in the air. So that's one group of them down. And the last.
Boars don't joke around, man. Those things are vicious.
And this other one's gonna try to shoot one of the goblins that you're fighting. Oh, I don't think so.
Wait, they.
Oh,
Not
close.
by much.
Yeah,
All
man.
right, goblins. So another group's moved up here in the front. This one, the two that you were engaged in, one of them, you see him reach for something off his back. Give me one moment here. And he reaches for something out of his back. He's got like something like strapped on around his, because they're wearing like little pelts and belts and things like that. He's got something strapped around his belt, and he pulls it out, and he flings it towards you, and it's like unfurling. It's a net he's throwing at you. So he's gonna try to throw a net at you.
How's gonna suck? This is my boomstick.
Oh, he rolled like shit. Go ahead, no, let's see, roll your reflex.
To be fair, his reflexes aren't the best.
Oh, the goblin's got 4 dice. But yeah.
Yeah. You can do it.
I was
Oh
talking
yeah,
about-
Temric. Yeah, Temric could get snared here. You there, Temric? I think Sim's not. Right. I think Sim's not there. Oh,
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Nah, my chat's acting up. Okay, so it's back to me
Yep.
now.
Oh, no, there's a goblin throwing
Oh.
a net at you. So you need to roll reflex, see if he's gonna.
Oh,
his
goodness.
roll was a 6, so.
They rolled a 6. You should be able to beat that. Beats me.
You would
Oh,
think so. You would
my
think
So
so.
God.
he gets you with the net, and what this is gonna do, so it's gonna be a -1d for your reflex rolls for the next turn while you try to get out of this net.
As if they weren't bad enough as it was.
Holy shit!
Brings it down to a solid 1.
And this goblin's gonna try to throw a net on Batar.
Good grief.
And he gets him. So he nets the Batar on the back of the boar, and so they're struggling around. The other goblin that did not get shot, he's up in the tower, and evens or odds, Arnulf.
Odds.
Always odds.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with drawing a bit of
All
aggro.
right, so this goblin is gonna use a luck die, and he's gonna attempt to do something to you that's not gonna be great if it works. So he's gonna roll reflex versus your reflex here. Alright, go ahead and roll reflex, see if you avoid
It's
it.
a luck die as
Okay.
well. Nails it.
So you
Nice.
see he's looking at you and he's like smirking, and you see him pull an arrow out. They're using little short bows. He pulls an arrow out, and you see him. It takes him a little while to notch it, like he was doing something with the arrow. And he shoots the arrow past you, and you see it misses, but you see it coated in some green liquid as it hits the ground behind you.
Oh no. That's bad times.
Just give him a bird.
Other goblins and things are moving up into position. And actually, Arnulf, coming over the wall in front of you, see this big, green, gnarly, and you recognize what it is immediately. This is an orc. It actually climbs over the wall and jumps down.
Oh no.
And there are other people moving into position. Let me see, make sure, 'cause there's a...
Well, at the very least, their fortress will be destroyed.
Alright, and one last thing's gonna happen. Grubner, you see the goblins moving up here, and these four goblins sort of flanking the bigger goblin. And he puts his sword away and pulls a whip out and starts hitting a couple of the other smaller goblins. Forward! Forward! Out with your arrows! Forward! And he's pushing forward. And, yeah. So.
Bad times. Bad time goblin.
Could be bad news.
Alright. I better be super stealth.
So it's gonna be back to you guys now.
You want me to just get my stealth out of the way
Sure.
real quick? Let's do that. Alright, yeah, so Grubner will advance. Hopefully. You know what, I got a feeling. I'm gonna use a luck point. Yeah, just in case.
Okay, so you make it.
Better safe than sorry.
So you're
Bad
Absolutely.
So you're up at the you are up at this, and you hear something breathing
okay.
deep inside there. Are you gonna pull back the tarp now?
Yeah, what he does is he kind of gets low and makes sure he's on the other side of it to the goblins. And he kind of pulls it up enough and like is almost under it himself, but enough to where some light gets in. What am I looking at?
So you pull this tarp back. You pull the tarp off, or you just like peeking under the tarp, basically.
Peeking under. He's kind of like half under it himself.
So
but up enough to where he gets some light.
towards the back of the first thing you see is a rather large snake that is on the other side of the bar. It's just sort of laying there. Its eyes are open. You can see it looking at you. And then as you trail along the snake's body, you begin to see that this is part of a rather large creature that the goblins have somehow gotten into this cage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so Grubner is like for a moment he's stunned, and he looks at the thing and he's almost got this almost a grin on his face, like his head doesn't know what to do at this point. So he kind of motions to the snake, kind of waves his hand off to the side a bit to make sure it's following.
And it sort of picks its head up and looks at you, and its eyes are meeting yours, and you feel strange.
Yeah,
you feel very relaxed. You feel very calm. You feel like you don't want to really do anything. So you're gonna have to roll a willpower to roll power 9,
right.
because you just don't really want to do anything right now.
Luck point.
Should have talked to one of the other heads.
Luck point. Yeah, that's what I thought immediately. This moment I saw the snake, I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Bad times.
So I'm gonna whisper you something.
Okay.
You guys can start doing your turns.
Alright, I'm gonna take a swing at the group of goblins in front of me again. Hoping for this time they don't split apart and multiply and do funny things in that mess.
Hopefully this aligns with what I was going to do anyway.
I
Oh gosh.
I am cursed. Yeah, I am
So,
duly.
Arnulf is staring down the barrel of a fully loaded orc.
Don't worry, guys. We got the cavalry's coming in soon, hopefully.
No, I don't like the idea of being poisoned. I'm gonna go for the goblin. For an 18 to hit.
I mean, one way or another, Grubner's like in fucking all of this thing.
So Arnulf. So Temric, are you swinging at the guy? Oh yeah, unless he.
Yeah.
I actually don't even
can't
think that
hit
you
him.
can hit him. So you've gotten the net off at this point. After that miss, you're able to get it off. But this goblin. You were shooting at the goblin, Arnulf.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get poisoned.
You hit him.
Good lord.
You still kill him. So tell me how you.
My strength checks. I'm still.
Tell me how he dies.
Just a bolt through the
Yeah, so
forehead.
he's like smirking at you and going to get another arrow, and then he looks back up and gets pitched out of the tower, does a little backflip and falls on the ground.
Arnulf will do a bit of a move, let the crossbow drop in its holster, and pull out his sword, ready to face the orc.
Alright. Miss Grubner's doing Grubner things. So, first things first, Batar gonna try to attack with a penalty while he's netted. Respectable. Does hit.
Nice. Wow.
And even while he's netted, as he's getting the net off, he's swinging his. He's got a really wicked, like, jagged piece of metal in his hand. It looks sort of like a blade, and he's just swinging it all around. It happens to clip a goblin, but clipping a goblin's as good as hitting him straight on. Just takes a leg off, and the goblin spins around. And then this other jackal is gonna try to point blank one of these goblins that's here fighting Temric.
Nice.
Yeah, I need all the help I can get apparently.
They're squirrely. This last one sees
No.
the orc come out, and you see, like, anyone who happens to see him, his ears perk up. He throws the crossbow that he has on the ground and pulls a sword out and starts riding full speed towards the orc, past Arnulf, just screaming and cackling as he's doing so. And doesn't do very well. But neither does the orc.
But still, they have reflex too.
Oh my gosh, these rolls.
Good grief. That might do some extra. Nope.
Well, every little bit counts, though.
He gets a clean hit across the orc's shoulder, and the orc just sort of staggers a bit, but just looks mad more than hurt. And now we're back to them. Okay. And Grubner, I did see that. It'll be next turn when you see.
Okay, cool.
So, goblins. So, Temric. You see these two goblins in front of you. One of them's just trying to, like, after you throw the net off and you're swinging at him, he's just trying to keep your attention. But you see another one out of your peripheral. He's, like, dipping his blade in something. He's got a little dagger and he's coming at you with it.
Well, I'm about to get poisoned, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
Can't beat that.
Luck point?
Mm.
Oh no.
Alright, so he's gonna It's gonna be strength versus athletics again, but
You might actually take no damage from this.
I guaranteed 1. But if you roll high enough, I'll negate the poison because that was fucking abysmal.
Oh, then in that case, I'll add on luck die onto that.
There you go. That's the time. Watch it be a freaking.
You know?
You beat it by
20.
6. I mean, you beat this by almost 4 full dice.
Literally
So,
20.
so you get. He sort of nicks you with it, and you feel like it burning on your arm, but really all he did was nick one of your boils. So
I was just gonna say, I was like, that's perfect.
so
Yeah.
you're gonna take 1 wound, but you're not gonna suffer the effects of the poison.
All right, I'm gonna play it off like it didn't nick a boil, but it actually got me, and I'm just living through the poison.
So other goblins, they're gonna try to. One of them has a little blow dart, and he's dipping the darts in the poison. And he's gonna try to shoot it at
These wily goblin bastards.
try to shoot it at Batar.
But Tara's been rolling better than me.
It's rolling pretty good. Batar just sort of leans out of the way and matrixes it. This orc on this yellow snake rider over here.
No, not the Jagger boys. I need them to trade with. I need
That's
their
gonna
money.
be a balloon fight over there. And these other 2 goblins. So these other 2 are gonna. They have little. These 4, I suppose, have these short bows back here, and they're all gonna take shots at you guys up front. Just give me a moment here. This is gonna go for Batar, and they're gonna get an additional die because they were getting motivated, quote unquote, by the big goblin. Ooh, so Batar's gonna take him. I'm not even gonna. He's gonna resist any extra damage. This one's going in on Temric.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Oh, so close.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Story of my life here.
You're only gonna take 1 wound from that.
This is painful.
And the and so Temric, you can see like further back from the arrows are coming from. You see this bigger goblin directing everybody, and then he looks over to his left and waves somebody forward, and you see this big armored orc stepping out. He's like they look like they're blacksmith's weapons, like they were made in a forge somewhere, not like the usual crude jagged garbage that most orcs have. And he's just sauntering towards the gatehouse.
He's even uglier than I am.
And then he's got a pal with him. I'm gonna spread these out a bit so I can see everybody. Shit. Alright, and I think that's everybody. So back to Grubner.
Ooh. And this was genuinely my plan the moment I was headed towards the camp was this.
Alright, and so you're gonna get a response, and then you can, whatever you do.
Cool.
Sorry, what's going on? Who's going up?
Sending Grubner something. Grubner's having conversations.
Do you hear the voices
Yeah,
too?
pretty much.
Yeah.
You guys ever play Dawn of War, the original
Mhm.
one?
I remember the
I love that. That's my ringtone for my
shithead
family.
psychers.
I can feel the wolf overtaking me. It is a good thing.
So am I like compelled at this point at all, or?
You can roll will again, target 9, see if you're compelled or if you're gonna do something of your free will.
Yeah, we'll do one more roll. Let's see.
How the fuck did goblins get control of this thing?
Because they're
I
squirrely.
mean, you've seen what they're capable of right now. They're
I'm using another one of those. It was target
Yep.
9, yeah. Okay. Gonna use one more luck point. Yeah.
Nails it.
Nice.
needed it.
That luck
It was
point
actually the difference of 1. You needed it.
It was. Oh
So
my gosh.
You feel
Nice.
like it's scratch. You still feel like compelled, scratching at the back of your head, but you're back in control for now.
Yeah, he shakes it off. Kind of waves a finger at the thing. That is unpleasant, but as long as you don't eat us, you know, eat them. We'll leave. You can do what you want.
I have your word.
You have my word. You saw my thoughts, didn't you? I could feel it. The stories were true, weren't they? Oh, bugger me. He walks around, staying under the tarp so he's not seen, and starts unlatching it. But then kind of stops. And I have your word. Yes. None of us, only the orcs and goblins.
A god makes no promises, but we have an agreement.
I suppose that's the best I could hope for, isn't it? He unlatches it and pulls off the tarp in one go.
Oh gosh.
Let loose the hounds of hell. He says with the biggest damn grin in the world.
And this thing just comes bursting out, and it is gonna go immediately.
For Arnold.
Yes.
I don't know,
Yeah.
given the luck.
No, it's
it might be
going
Temeric.
right here. It's the big goblins
that's-
just pointing out and whipping, and you see this timber. You see this shadow fall over this goblin, and then you see the thing itself. And I mean, any of you guys that see this thing, you're gonna make willpower checks because this is this is unlike anything you have ever seen in your entire lives. So you're gonna need to make a willpower of 12 against this. This is
Well,
for fear, not.
I am. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say I'm about to be captivated.
Am I pretty good since I already, had a chat
Yeah,
with him?
well, you saw the snake initially, and that's what drew you in. This is the entire
Eased
thing.
me in, yeah.
Huh,
Nice.
Nope.
no fear.
Dang, you got 5 willpower?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's good.
Temeric is, like I said, he is a
Yeah.
tank.
He is the rock in which we built our fortress
Mhm.
upon.
So this, you
No
see this thing,
fear.
it's immediately going for this bit, and the goblin turns around in horror and points at it, and it's just screaming out in some chittering tongue to all the other goblins, all of which are starting to panic as this thing is out. That is a garbage roll for this guy, though.
Ooh,
Still good enough.
nice. Oh, he has a name. Shit. I'm glad I let loose the word beast on him.
Whew. And the word beast takes a massive, just swipes him, slams him up against the side of a wall that's nearby, and really, I mean, you see that it's this taller goblin's still big. Like, still, not still big, still living, still big. He's still big, he's not in pieces yet. He's still breathing, but he's on the ground. It's shaking the cobwebs out, but this thing is now free. So... It is now
Huzzah!
the rest of your guys' turn. Because I believe that was Grubner's action.
Yep. And what an action it was.
Seeing the beast come up. There's a foe worthy of stuff. And he's hoping the goblins kind of see it too. And I'm going to take another swing and hoping that he just don't dance around my sword like it's nothing. And of course.
Oh,
Sorry,
man.
Not afraid of nothing, but I can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Like, when you hit, stuff explodes, but you just can't hit these things.
Go
Holy
ahead,
crap,
Arnold.
Arnulf doesn't notice the weird beast as he's still staring down the barrel of full
Yeah.
orc.
Well, you're next to that wall
shoot
too.
it.
You have no idea. You just you might hear some roaring and shit, but you don't know.
Ignorance is bliss.
Just a couple shudders down the spine.
Actually, he'll approach it in melee. He's got a sword out.
Ooh.
Ballsy. Go for it.
That bonus die.
Pretty good.
I don't think they can beat it.
Oh, the. Okay, here we go. 10. Oh. Nope. Can't. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, that was like asking for them to roll max.
And even then, it wasn't good enough.
Ooh.
Freaking nothing.
Alright, and then the jackals. Batar. Not poison, not nets. He's gonna try to finish this little goblin in front of him. Nope. Other jackal gonna try to point blank this goblin again.
Point blank, man. When it hits, it rips people out. Never mind.
Nope.
Gosh dang it.
And then this last one's gonna help you continue to fight this orc, and he's gonna get a bonus die as well. That's
Nice.
back around to them. So
This'll be
these
interesting.
goblins are gonna try to go after the weird beast actually, because this is a problem. They're actually gonna try to net it.
What size category
This
is
thing
this
is
thing?
massive. But they're all flinging nets together, so they're just all trying to get nets all over it and slow it down. No. No.
You know it's not good when like the size category can be summarized with "it's big."
Yeah.
Cosmic.
Right.
So we're gonna go to these goblins that are fighting you guys, and they're more caught up in fighting you than what's going on behind them right now, because if they know they're gonna die if they don't win. So they're trying to get. They're gonna try to go after Temric. No net this time. Just gonna try to stab at you.
It's
Oh, guaranteed. No matter what.
thankfully they can't actually. No, they can't. But
Or they can hurt you with it. It's very rare for them to get more than 1 damage.
actually, I didn't read my Discord message.
Oh, what's that? Oh, let me see.
I just didn't know if you're house ruling this or not.
Oh, so whenever it goes, if you hit, you're guaranteed to do 1 wound. You can never do less than 1 damage if you actually make a hit.
Oh, okay.
But when you, let me see, defender beats damage roll by 6 and negates 1 level. Yeah, you're always guaranteed for 1 point of damage. You can just it's possible just to resist any additional damage on hits. I mean, if they roll, if no, let's keep it simple. If you hit, you do at least 1 point of damage.
Actually, I totally get that. That'd be kind of game.
Yeah, because then Tamara can just sit there and just no.
Yeah.
In certain situations, maybe,
Yeah.
but most in like 99.9% of all cases, you hit, you do damage. And other goblins on, they're gonna try to poison Batar again. Oh, Batar's on it.
Not in Patar's house.
But this orc is coming out now, and first one he sees is Batar.
Okay.
Well, better him than me.
You see him wielding a big mace that he's swinging around. He tried to swing and hit Batar's mount. Try to hit his boar and knock his boar out from under him. Oh, Batar's on it. Holy shit.
Not in Patar's house.
Oh, even or odd, Arnulf.
Sorry.
Even or odd?
Even.
Oh no.
He's gonna hit the
Top.
knoll. These guys have been having a pillow fight over here. Oh, there you go.
Uh-oh. They're in the same boat as Temric.
Orc cuts that. As the riders are sort of riding around trying to swing him, the orc swings back and catches him across the chest. This other orc gonna come out. Oh, damn it, their health bars are connected. Hold on. Fix that. This guy hasn't been wounded at all. Alright. Yeah, he tried to go after the boar rider. I'm just gonna roll manually for him because it's. I'll roll it this way. There you go. Okay, well,
Ooh.
I'm not gonna bother.
Literally.
Yeah,
can't
I'm
beat
not
him.
gonna bother. Big Goblin gets up, sort of moves away from where the weird beast is, and let's see what this little dirtbag can do. And he's sort of running around like you see him like hobbling around. He's beat up big time. And he's like hobbling around. He sort of gets behind something, and he raises his staff up in the air towards the weird beast. And he just sort of waves it around, and he's like muttering something, and his eyes glow, and something shoots out from the staff and hits the
Oh
weird
my.
beast. And all of a sudden, you see a bunch of sand come up and start engulfing the weird beast's legs.
Spellcaster.
So the weird beast is going to take some penalties for its next turn, because it's entangled in sand. Alright, and that's going to be the enemy's turn, so it's going to be you guys now.
Alrighty.
I just gotta say, I like that Temric's fights have all been. He faces off against a group of them, and even Grubner gets in there, and it's just Armulf with one guy. So I hit him.
That's about right.
Yeah,
And then Grubner off in the distance, faffing about
There
with
you
something
go.
or other.
9. Gosh darn it.
alright, so you do kill him though, so how do you dispatch this orc?
I figure like I've gone like one for the ribs, one for the gut, and this one just like it sinks through. Actually, he doesn't even have armor. I think I just stab him through
There
the
you go.
chest,
You just stab him through the chest,
and I'll start making my way over here.
and the jackal
Keeping close to the walls.
rides over his corpse after you do so and lets out a war cry and cackles.
Nice.
He took 4
Nice,
hits.
nice. Stop.
Alright, whoever's next.
Oh.
You can do it. Hit him.
Shoot her!
Tempted to go after
I
the
guess I'll
orc,
go
isn't he? Sword.
Think maybe
Alas,
maybe
a
a change
worthy
of
foe
pace.
that I can actually hit.
That's exactly what he's gonna do because he's squirrely little goblins.
Watch
And it
that
don't
damn
matter.
orc roll like out of this world.
That's what's gonna
It
happen.
might.
All right, so for the orc, I'm gonna see him coming up, and I'm gonna shimmy away from the goblins and take a swing at him. Most likely gonna roll all ones or something again.
No, you
Gotta
can
have
do it. You
faith.
got this one.
Hey!
Hey!
Tim,
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Hey,
You hit him.
I hit something. About time.
Hell yeah.
The two monsters go at it. 5 strength.
Oh, there you go.
Ah,
You hit him, though.
everyone counts.
Indeed.
So I'm gonna take a swing and just catch him a little bit. Laugh. Looks like we're going to go at it, huh?
Yeah, you catch him on his hip, and he's and just growls at you. And he's got
Not
a
a
big
s-
club too. He's got like a big two-handed club. It looks like a two-handed club, but he's got in one hand just swinging around like a table leg.
All right.
Grubner.
Well, I suppose then, yeah, Grepner is going to leap to the fence of the word beast, his new best friend, and he is gonna basically leap onto this goblin. He's going for the arm, in particular, trying to get that staff away. So he's gonna try and make a cut towards the wrist or elbow, basically.
Go for it.
He's got his basically his longest blade out. It's more like a short sword.
He's gonna use
kinda.
his luck die on the defense.
Well, I'm gonna use my luck die on the no, not the attack, the damage. Sorry. Well, no, yeah, the
Oh my
attack.
god, he
That's
rolled
correct.
terrible.
Oh
Go
my
ahead.
gosh, glad I used that luck die. I mean, it didn't matter, but kind of did. So
It felt good.
my last one. Yeah, it felt good. That's the whole point. Yeah. Alright, let's see if I can murderedly murder this dude.
Mm.
Oh.
Well, how do you kill the big goblin?
Yeah, so the goblin has this. He had a staff, right? Yeah, so the goblin had that raised, presumably binding the word beast somehow with the sand and whatnot. So he kind of grabs the staff, pulls it towards him, brings his sword down, clearly cleaning the hand away. Takes the staff then and bashes the goblin over the head with it, brings the short sword up into his gut, and then just lets him drop. He's also got a free new staff.
So
now.
you cut his hand off, like, ah, and he's backing away, and you just clock him over the head, and you hear this like bunch of bones snap, and his nose breaks, and he just sort of he's like crumpling over towards the ground, and you just follow up with that upward jab into his belly, and you feel the life fall out of him, and he just hunches over. And then the weird beast. The weird beast is actually going to attack all 4 goblins at once that are near you.
Sweet.
What?
Yeah.
Besties for life.
As long as you're
He's
alive.
still
Exactly.
going to suffer a little bit of a penalty, so he's only going to roll 4 dice instead of 6, because he had to work his way out of the sand.
I don't know, guys. It might be done.
Sweet.
That's the result the goblins had to beat for. No, no. This could be really rough. So there's no penalty of strength. Okay.
Smush
I
the
think they're
plebs.
dead.
That one's.
Oh, that's right. They have really good athletics.
So he outright kills 3 of them and knocks another one away.
Temic wishes he could see this because it'd give him hope in hitting goblins one of these days.
And this thing's like roaring around, like the snakes flipping everywhere, and the snake picks one goblin up and flings it out of the camp, like over the walls, and it's just like this thing's tearing goblins up. Just any goblins that happen to run by it. But that's back to the. Did the gnolls go?
I don't know.
No.
Grubner feels like the ruler of the world right now. He's got this fancy magic staff in one hand, a short sword in the other, a bunch of dead goblins around him, and a word beast at his back. He is having a good time. It's like all his childhood dreams, like the fairy tales, it's all real.
So this is after the goblin, who is dead.
Kills one.
It's the upward swing that caught this goblin and launched him into the air in pieces. And then the other one, this other jackal here, is gonna just, he's looking at his crossbow like it's broken, just flings up against the wall and pulls his blade out and starts sprinting over towards the orc. Ever so slightly.
Yes.
And the last one is going to retrieve his crossbow that he had dropped initially, mid run while on the boar, load it and shoot at the orc.
Oh, he's taking your easy target, man.
You know?
Or is he?
Maybe not with that one. No.
Oh my gosh, he is!
Man, he's doing it with style too.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh my god, he is!
So you know, you see the orc in front of you get cut a bit by this jackal here, and then you just hear just like a whistling in the air, and a bolt just lands square and takes the orc's jaw off, and it stumbles back, and just from the shock and blood loss, it dies. And you hear in the distance cackling. I think that's it.
Jackal's out.
Oh, it's so good.
And now what's left of the goblins? So this first the orc is gonna try to beat Batar up.
Batar, no.
Wow. The goblin is gonna try to strike at you. Temric, yep.
Temric, no.
Alright, let's see how fast I get hit.
Oh,
I was
I'll be
just
damned.
thinking that was gonna happen too. I was like, this will be the time he
How
rolls an
many bloody
11.
hit points do you have, man?
He's got 5 wounds. Temric can take a beating.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he can, man.
I'm hurt.
This goblin, seeing he's by himself, he's gonna try to bully through you, attack you, and get you out of his way so he can run away.
Oh, that puny little bugger. Oh, darn it, I keep opening that sheet.
I've been doing the same thing every now and then. It happens. Oh my god.
Flex, yes.
Well, let's go ahead. It's
That
back
one.
to you guys. Let's wrap them up. Go for it.
Almulf will yell to Temric, "Go for the big guy," and he'll attack the goblin.
No argument here. These things dance around me.
Hits
Good.
for 8.
So you drop one of them. He rolls across the ground with a bolt in his chest. Temric.
I am going to charge over at the orc that's uglier than me, and as my way over there, I'm actually going to remove my mask, thinking that me not hitting anything is due to the limited vision.
Well, you're gonna get a bonus die because he's surrounded, but it's not because you removed your mask.
Placebo effect.
Can he see like Grubner and the Word Beast at this point now?
Oh, he's been able to see you. Well, he's probably been able to see the word
Oh,
beast.
okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know if he's noticed you, but
I think Arnold actually sees him now.
yeah, roll willpower
Yeah.
12. Good idea.
Fair enough.
Almost.
No. So you're gonna take
dice.
-1 penalty to dice now because you're -1 penalty for the rest of the battle. For dice, because that's a big scary monster that shouldn't be alive. Go ahead, Tamrick, and fight in the.
All right. So I'm gonna swing at the orc with the. What did you say? A mace. And
Don't forget your extra die.
all right.
No d6.
Oh, yeah.
15. You hit him.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Sweet. So now I feel happy
Feels
without
good,
the
doesn't it?
mask. Yeah, it does. Trust me. Overdue.
Seriously.
Oh, damn.
Oh no!
Disappointing.
Hey, I'll tell you what though, it's more damage I caused to him than I had with all those goblins for the past like 5 rounds. So
Fair enough.
Oh, Grubner.
All right, yeah. This last little goblin wanted to mess with Grubner, so now he's gonna get it. I don't suppose there's any chance of Grubner somehow activating some magic in that staff.
You have to roll. You had to roll max on your. You had to hit double 6 on your willpower, and I'll let you do something. If you want to try doing that.
Cool. Alrighty, let's go. Yeah, he's got that staff. He is. There's like that flicker of like, magic's real, in his eyes. and with that in mind, he points the staff at the goblin. If nothing else, maybe he'll make it piss itself. So, let's find out.
No.
No.
Almost double.
So
Can I hit him with it instead?
no, this was your action. But
Okay,
but go
fair
ahead, go role play me what you try to do to make the staff work.
Yeah, so Grubner kind of looks at the dead hobgoblin question mark and looks at the staff and sees this little goblin and has like this big menacing mane about himself, far more than he has any right to. And like points the staff at the goblin menacingly and kind of just juts it forward. And of course,
Yeah.
nothing
And the
happens.
goblin it stops, like puts its hands up for a second, and looks at you, and realizes nothing happened, and just starts laughing at you. Yeah! He's like getting ready to come towards you. So we'll go ahead and do the jackals. Of course, this jackal is gonna. Of course, Batar is gonna try to smash this orc.
Hits. Actually, not necessarily, right? I forget these guys have 3 dice.
Well, yeah, that guy has.
Dang.
Another minor cut. This boar rider is gonna try to beat this goblin to death. Oh, he is no more. This jackal is just trying to ride up. Well, weird beast. As this goblin's laughing at you. Let's see how badly he is. Yeah, I think he's not gonna make it. Wow. It's pretty good though.
Dang.
So as,
Oh my
as this
gosh,
goblin's coming towards you, he like had dips his little blade in the poison. He's coming at you with this greenish blade. You see this lion head just come down and just engulf this goblin.
Grubner kind of looks towards the beast. I mean, it was worth a shot. You never know.
It just looks at you with disdain. It's like the goat head just looks at you, this blank, dead stare.
He shrugs.
Uh,
Well then, he kind of turns to head back towards the orc. I suppose we should be able to hopefully take care of it from here. It has been a pleasure fighting alongside you, my lord. And he gives a curt bow to the word beast.
Very well. I shall leave. I do not expect to see you again. For if I do, I will not be so kind. And it sort of just starts stepping out. This and it sort of knocks over a wood wall here towards the back. And starts walking. It just walks down the hill, doesn't run, just walks.
So yeah, as it kind of actually leaves Grubner's, like his demeanor, like kind of, he's like breathing. He's like, for fuck's sake, I'm still alive. God damn it. He's like cursing 5,000 curses, and he turns to start heading over towards the last orc.
So let's see. Evens or odds, Temric?
Odds.
It's gonna go after Batar. It's gonna use a luck die to add an extra.
Dang.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but it's
Gonna
all in
use
his
another
athletics
luck
now.
die for the strength as well. Oh, no.
Oh,
Oh my.
That's it. Use them up.
Right, back to you guys. Whoever wants to go first.
Arnulf gathers along the firing line. Fire!
Tyler's gonna duck.
Oh, you hit him.
Hits. For one.
Mhm.
It's alright, it's every one less.
Whoever wants to go next.
Takes him through a leg, getting him ready for
seeing that he just took a bolt to the leg. Laugh. Maybe now you'll be thinking twice about catching werebeast, huh?
Watch your mouth, scum.
Now this scum's about to kill you. Maybe. No, not at all.
roll your extra bonus die, might as well.
Yeah.
Can only go up from here.
Yeah, exactly.
please be another one. Okay, it's
It's a 4. It's not the bottom. We're scraping the bottom, but it's not quite the bottom.
The orc sidesteps, and he's pretty eloquent for an orc. He's just laughs at you. Where did you learn to fight?
From your mom.
Your bloody
Just
green
looks-
mother? That's
he
where...
just looks confused. Go ahead, Grubner.
Just
Oh,
call
yeah.
me dad.
So Grubner kind of, seeing this from the gate, kind of takes this moment of confusion in the orc and kind of sweeps around. It's looking pretty beat up, yeah?
I mean, he's been taking some hits. He's not showing it, but
Okay.
it looks a bit rough.
So Grubner, like, pulls out this big fucking blackjack. He's looking to question this dude. So he's basically going to kind of come up and drop down from the wall behind, and as he's coming down, he brings that blackjack down square on the top
So
of
you're
his skull.
gonna take -1 penalty for jumping down top
Oh,
of
no.
him for trying to hit him with the reflex stuff. So we'll knock off the last die, but
Okay.
I am gonna allow you to do this.
Oh,
man.
yeah. It's an 11.
Oh my god.
Yes!
Outstanding.
Whew.
Go ahead and roll
Smack.
strength.
Oh, yeah, strength. Alright.
Oh.
It's a 3.
Well, tell me about how this
I'm
looks when you
contagious.
jump down and knock this orc out.
That's outstanding.
Grubner for the win. So yeah, Grubner sees this and like just in beautiful form, just kind of drops down, full figure, and as he comes down, both his hands are like joined together on the blackjack, and he kind of lands, and the thing comes down on the orc's head as Grubner kind of lands behind him in a squat, and the orc just falls to its feet in front of Temeric, with Grubner standing up and brushing himself off from behind it.
Yeah, Temric, and you see this. The orc's like getting ready to wind up for a swing on you, and then all of a sudden just and it's like crashes down to the ground.
With that, I'm gonna lean against the fortress wall, all winded out.
For fuck's
Thanks,
sake,
Grubner.
Oh. That was a fight, wasn't it?
That's a
Yes.
beast, the one. Speaking of beast, the hell!
Well, Grubner kind of has this look of doesn't know like how to explain this.
What in the name of all that's good was that?
Well, the stories were true.
It was fantastic.
Glad it was. And smart
glad
as a
it got
goddamn
away.
whip as well.
Good grief.
Tameric's gonna pick up his mask and put it back on.
Oh, good. Now he covered himself. Now, what was that thing that ran away?
Grubner is like, he kind of sits down up against the wall, puts like a foot up on the orc's chest, and just says, "Oh, my. Well, we'll have a lot of questions for this one once we're done clearing up."
Yes, let's bind them nice and tight.
I think I'll take one of your book, Grubner. I'll start looting shit.
There you go. Yeah, Governor's got his free new staff, kind of like on his back now, just tied on, and he takes a bunch of that extra cloth he'd gathered up earlier on and kind of tears it enough to get good thread and make a makeshift rope, but one that's tight enough to where, bound with the proper knots, the guy's not gonna break free.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead and int that. Let me know how well you do making that rope.
alrighty.
Target number of
Alrighty.
9.
Come on, 9. Yeah.
Nice.
Sweet.
Tameric's gonna sit down in front of him and kind of take some of the armor off because it's hot and he's winded, and kind of wait for him to wake up.
Yeah, the orc's naked at this point, by the way. Grubner stripped the guy down. He's not gonna risk
Oh,
anything.
God.
He knows what Grubner knows what he can hide on himself. He's not gonna mess around with an orc. Who knows?
So as you guys are sort of doing what
Trust
you're
him.
doing,
He's a doctor.
the jackals all get together and they're just collecting orc ears and goblin ears and things like that, and they do some. You see them do some like prayers and things, and they're speaking in a language you don't really understand to one another. But it's like it seems like Batar's reciting something, and the other two just shout something in response. So they're just sort of going through the.
Maybe Arnold.
Go ahead.
Arnold heard some of this on the
Sure.
battlefield.
You can int
It's kind of bringing
int
it
9.
back.
Nice.
If you want to see what kind of stuff they're saying.
So we're just
Int 9. Yeah, int target number 9. See if you want to understand what they're saying.
Hey, he makes it.
Right on the dot.
Sure, I'll whisper something to you. You guys can roleplay as I'm doing so.
Sure.
So Tameric's just sitting there with his linens, kind of unwrapping a little bit, just letting his body breathe.
Quite the fight there, laddie.
Yeah.
Well, between the orcs at least. How you faring with your cuts?
I've seen worse. Yeah, I'm still standing.
Governor's off to the side a little bit, kind of looking over that staff.
Pick up a new stick.
Hey, one of the goblins been there. That big bastard. You probably won't believe me when I say it, but he swung it up, brought sand around the word beast's feet, bound it in a way. I don't know if the magic is in him or the staff, but I suppose it's worth keeping it either way, isn't it? Who knows, it might have a bit of luck in it.
Yeah, with that tail behind it, at least it might be valuable to somebody.
I suppose so. Myself, if no other.
I'm sure the Duke will pay some money for that.
Bloody magic.
Bloody magic indeed.
Grief.
All the stories were true, weren't they?
They were. And these blasted greenskins. Now, hopefully we come to some agreement with these jackals and maybe make a new ally out in the western lands.
Certainly. They seem interested enough in trade, at the least. So,
It's just a matter of getting the Duke to agree to it.
I don't know. The Duke is a bit more amiable than you might think, I imagine. If it benefits him, at least.
Surely it will.
Alright. So what
Indeed.
questions did you want to ask this orc?
When, who, what, when, how, and where about this werebeast, and essentially,
Alright,
you
so
know.
just in the interest of time, because this is, we've been,
Yeah.
I think this is in check, 3.5 hours, and I figure everybody's about
Yeah.
at that point. So we'll make, you just want to understand why they're getting together, who got the group together, things like that, those kind of questions about the...
How they got armed, especially, and then how they got the werebeast, of course, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
And why'd they come out to the western lands?
so what would be your method of getting this information out of him?
Oh, I'm gonna take my linen, and if he doesn't want to talk, I'm gonna start rapping him in it.
God!
Nice,
Oh.
nice.
That's
So good.
That
the best.
Opposed willpower
I love
roll.
that. That's amazing.
He's nude at the moment, too, so he's got, like,
So roll
nothing.
willpower. Give yourself a bonus
Lock
die,
in.
because that is scary to think about. So you're gonna roll your willpower versus his. I mean,
Oh
forget your
my
bonus.
gosh. That poor bastard.
yeah. So initially he's resistant, but whenever you start to act like you're gonna back that thread up and you start pulling like wraps off and he sees your skin, you see him like backing away. Like it's one of the first times you've probably seen Arnulf, especially because Arnulf's seen greenskins a lot. What with being in the war when he was younger, it's one of the first times you've actually seen fear in a greenskin's eyes. When you know there's any kind of will left in him to fight. He looked very resilient for a moment, and then he saw that happening, and the threat of disease was so great he's terrified. So he more or less spills his guts. In regards to where he fits in, he was one of the war chiefs on a lower level. He's actually a half orc. As you can imagine, a certain type of union that was not necessarily mutual occurred, and he was the result. But he fought his way to the top of his tribe and was thus given a position. So he explains his part in it. How they captured the word beast, he says, was actually fairly easy. The beast, they understand that these beasts exist out here, and that they're usually very arrogant, and so they played its arrogance against it and laid a trap to where they were able to knock it unconscious with a combination of nets and boulders. At which point they just draped the snake head, because they say that they understand these things better than the inferior manfolk ever will. They exist out here with them. The orcs do.
But why? To what end?
Why do you think, manfolk? Why else would we want the beast with such power under our thumb?
Yes.
Well, it seems they're about to fight a war on two fronts.
So this presents a big issue to us menfolk, as you say, because obviously you're willing to go to great means to attack us with great
There can be
beasts.
no peace between us. Ever. Your people are inferior to mine. It was only because we worked with weak allies lastly that we fell. We shall bring a greater war when we must return, with all manner of beasts and creatures, not just useless jackals or piteous goblins.
If all orcs fight like that, I think we have okay odds.
Yes. Well, I think there's only one thing left to do.
Bury him to his neck.
No. I don't think any... As good as that sounds, that leaves the opportunity for him to get out and cause a problem for us later.
I know it. Adjust.
I'm gonna look over at the jackals. Like, he is a gift from our Duke. But there's a limit with this gift. He has to die today.
What is a duke?
He is the one that we serve.
He's a
A
pompous
chieftain.
bastard with lots of coin.
Chief. Menfolk chief, huh? We kill... Orc must die today?
Yes.
The jackal looks at the orc and then just... Sword comes out of scabbard just into the orc's head. Orc die before the hour. Kicks the body down the hill.
He was a good warrior, but still an orc.
No pity for orc. Orc scum. Only want war. No peace. Garbage.
I will tell our man chief about what you did with us today, and in hopes of us becoming friends.
Bitar looks at the jackals behind him and they just sort of look at each other. Maybe Yellow Snake befriend manfolk. Doubt other tribes. We see. Lots to forgive. Lots to remember. Hard to forgive.
That's fair enough. Batar, regardless of the other manfolk or not, I take it we'll be good friends in the future. I'll send a few of my own friends to talk with your traders. Get you set up with some more goods.
Watch out for trap. Hate for you to end up like old manfolk. Remember, mound and road, not natural. Don't step on.
Good. I'll keep an eye out.
Ralph looks a bit sullen, but says, noted.
Wounds that are hard to forgive need to be forgotten sometimes.
We see. For now, we let you go home. Not ride you down like animal.
Then go in peace, friend.
You as well. And sort of motions for the others to follow. And a couple of your men, the ones you don't see, did die during the assault, but there are about 5 of you left from the original 10 that went.
Are these men we can trust to keep our secret?
Well, Governor paid them, so maybe.
They have reason to, because they if they now believe in like all the rumors about Grubner, they now know they probably might have more in store if they perform properly. But yeah, and he will kind of get that across over the course of the journey as well. You know, it's like, you know, there's benefits to working with a friend like him. So, But he does then also order them to sweep the village, the remains of the. Actually, I guess it's more like an encampment, in case there is any anything useful, any bits of info, any supplies that might help their way back.
Well,
And then after they're done, I'm gonna instruct them to burn it.
Int 12 to see if you pick
Oh.
anything up.
All of
Just
us, or-
Grubner, because you're the expert in looting here.
Cool.
You can direct them on how to loot.
Alrighty.
No.
Yeah, otherwise I'll be stealing for myself.
Yeah, it's all. So you don't find anything too useful. I mean, you find bits and baubles and things like that that might be worth some small sum just because they're exotic, little goblin trinkets. But most of what you find is more disturbing than useful. Just
Yeah.
because there are nomad human tribes that are out here from time to time that no one ever communicates with, and you find some interesting tastes that goblins have as far as food goes. So
I would imagine. Yeah. So while everybody else is kind of busy with like all that other stuff, Grubner's also gonna go take the orc's head, the half orc's head, and get that securely wrapped up. He wants to make sure that the Duke has proof of what we found.
all right.
And then when everybody's busy, I'm gonna take one of the orc flags and draw the signal Duke on it and plant it.
Oh man. Let them know. Oh.
Anybody who passes by will know what we did here today, whether it's good or bad for them.
Temric, was that not the whole point? Not
Alright, well, I think I'm pretty sure that with the jackals and word will spread anyways.
Yes, but this
Least-
is a sigil.
It is.
Just throw it in the fire. They're not stupid. People around here, creatures around here know.
You know what? Actually, Grubner kind of approaches in that regard, takes a similar such banner. I've got a better idea then. If we're looking to mislead, he takes out that signet he got
fuck.
from the name of the guy that he can't remember, and he gets that on it and stakes it into the ground.
I like it.
I'll do.
Now
That'll do indeed.
that's a good idea.
Wonder how long it'll take him to figure it out.
All right, and
I don't suppose it matters, does it?
Hopefully
you
goblins still-
return
hopefully enough
to
goblins will know.
Dornhoff, and we will see the results of your adventures in future games in this setting. And that is all she wrote.
That was so good. I really enjoyed
I
that.
liked it.